Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a fantastic event held by some legendary clubs. Tonight we are at the MOZA Racing Australian Open Wheel Nationals, and track will have people representing us from FDL, from Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, and from SRW. Here I have beside me is Josh. We are going to be had a bit of a chinwag about what and how all this came out and how we came to fruition. Josh, go you there, mate?
I surely am, Sinka. Hello. So it's a long story that we can make rather short, but we're here and we were approached by a driver the end result was to put the best Formula drivers in Australia on display. So what we came up with, we went to the drawing board and we came up with a bit of a formula to basically just pit clubs against each other and pit drivers against each other to give everyone up and down the grid something to fight for. But end result, we are going to put one driver on the top step and celebrate them as the best Formula driver in Australia. But at the same time, there is a team's championship in it, and we've added another team. So yeah, I'll let you talk about that one, Sinka.
Well, we're expanding. We're always looking out for teams that are up and coming, that are leagues that are up and coming, I should say, and that have got the same open wheel strategies and mentality that we have, and Formula Downforce League. Formula Downforce League. I knew I was going to get that wrong. Came across our radar, and a couple of guys that raced in our series and your series are in there as well. And Dougie said, let's give them a crack, and by all means we did. Don't I mean Dougie? It means Douglas Gowans, the grandpa himself, Guns Out we call him, whose idea was with me to do this, and then I said, yep, let's have a chat to Joshki, and it's never looked back. We are in our 5th annual event. We have so far had every single one by the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Even though I will stipulate this one point that the sim racing world drivers have led probably more laps than anyone. But we've also taken out ourselves more times than anyone else has as well. But I have been streaking. I haven't done a slab because we're too far apart, but I have lost everything so far except for my pants, and tonight probably won't be any different. So I don't know, Josh, no more bets?
No more bets, mate. There's always time for those pants, so we can arrange another side wager on the side. But no, it's great to see Formula Drivers League jump on board with us. They have a very different formula, so all 3 leagues are very, very, very different to each other, and it's just insane that we've all managed to align here to put our drivers on display. So Formula Drivers League, they basically they have minimum requirements for entry. They have quite a high I rating requirement. I believe it's about 3.5k, and if not, then you need to prove that you're within 1 second of the absolute top drivers in the league. So they mandate high requirements to race in the first place, and they're cranking out big numbers. They're punching near 40 odd drivers, I think, at the end of the season. I'm sure Ewan can chime in here, but great to see them on board. It's going to be a fantastic race.
We have in the background with us the regular loud voice that joins us every series so far. Zach's in the background there representing the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, and we've got Ewan representing FDL tonight. So welcome both of you in the booth. Please talk over the top of me whenever you feel through. I'm just going to say one more thing. This is Bathurst, and anything is possible. These guys at FDL are super fast, but you know what? You're at the front in Bathurst. It doesn't mean you're going to finish at the front.
I'm going to chime in here immediately and hold you two to account before we go any further. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Great to have you along on the platforms of SRW and the GSRC. Welcome to the 5th edition of the Australian Open World Nationals. Hard to believe it's 12 months since the inaugural one was staged, of course. Sinker's right. GSRC 4 from 4. There's one driver in the field that's a 2-time Australian Open World National champion, and he only led about 13 metres of the 4th edition, and that was at the Algarve circuit in Portimao, Portugal, of course. But you two got together, spun the wheel, had a few different tracks there for selection, and instead of, landing on a safe option, you've chosen Carnage and Chaos, I think was the wording I read correctly.
Oh, come on, mate. If you've got really, really fast guys, and you've got good guys, and then you've got us, we need to balance it out. And I think Bathurst's the perfect balancing out.
It does bring with it a few different elements of uncertainty tonight. There's no doubt about that. But one thing's for certain, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be an hour of the week-long entertainment that includes the AFL Grand Final, the XL Enduro at QR, and so many other great sporting events this week that you need to be here for and you don't want to miss. A very good evening from Central Commentaries, Zach Caban, Steve Sinka, Josh Zuno, and new voice to the Australian Open World Nationals. The boys mentioned him earlier, Ewan O'Leary. Good evening to you, Australian Eastern Time. Good morning to you in your neck of the woods over there in the United Kingdom. Great to have you on board, mate. Give us some intel with regards to that new addition to the Australian Open World Nationals concept, mate. You've been the voice of the FDL season so far, and as the boys have already said here, they bring a lot to the table, these guys. They pack a punch, and they're here in the bid of trying to do what SRW haven't been able to do in the last 12 months, and that's beat the GSRC. Could the newest club involved in the Australian Open World Nationals potentially get on the board here and draw first blood before SRW have even registered with the scorers?
I think, looking at the practice session at the moment, the answer is that it could be yes. It's obviously hard to work out from one lap pace, and the race, especially at Bathurst, is always weird in so many ways. But I think, we are definitely in a good position as far as speed is concerned. Just on the numbers, by the way, that you referenced a few moments ago, we actually saw numbers sort of go up towards the end of the season, which is unusual, but it's been in a great place in 2025. The FDL League, 36 entered to the final race of the season. We've been hovering at the sort of high 30s throughout the season as well. So it's been a great 2025 so far. Still got one more season to come, of course, in FDL, starting next month. But yeah, this is a great opportunity. Great to be here. Thanks very much for the invite, and looking forward to it.
Boys, it always adds a little bit of class. I'm not going to lie when there's
hang on.
British voice in the house.
You got to, everyone out there, don't try to tune your audio. Yes, he flew here. He wasn't born here. He flew here. But Ewan, give us a little bit of background, mate.
On
you, mate.
On you, the individual.
Mate. On you.
Mate.
Oh, I don't know. I'm from England. I've been doing FDL for a year. I've been commentating at iRacing for longer than I'd want to know about, really. I think just over 3 years. But I've done some of the iRacing special events in the world. Done stuff for a couple of other broadcasters as well. So and this is what I do for a living, basically commentating on Australian and time zone events in the morning in the UK.
Well, obviously, you're a morning person. I'm a night person. I do my best work after dark. I think Sinka does as well. And that's not necessarily talking about the commentary. That's talking about the nudie runs he's had to do after the last runnings of the Australian Open World Nationals. However...
My wife better judge to that. I don't do my best work after dark.
Now, it's always good to add a little bit of class to the booth, and that's what Ewan brings to the table. We're reliably telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that he's being a little bit modest about his presence here, because we're told that we're in the company of iRacing royalty on the broadcasting front, ladies and gentlemen. So it's good to have you in here on what is a very nice Wednesday morning over there across the pond. Now, Josh Zuno, let me bring you in at this particular point in time. We've got the checkered flag out. Practice is done. These boys are about to take onto the circuit for qualifying. So before I get the couple of comments from you that I do want, let's go and have a look at the real estate that we're playing on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's... This is now the second Australian venue to play host to the Australian Open World Nationals. Phillip Isle on the last one. We thought that was going to be an absolute belter. It turned out to be a little bit of a stinker, unfortunately, in some parts because of some early carnage that wiped out a few contenders. Why do I get a sense of potential deja vu unfolding here this evening on that note? But there it is. 6.213 kilometres. Ignore that little typo from SDK, ladies and gentlemen. 35% humidity, 23 degrees the ambient, 12 kilometre an hour winds, clear conditions. 36 on track. 23 in September in Bathurst is a little bit of a stretch, but we'll go with it. No, nevertheless, there it is for you. 35.6 the track temp, and very lightly wet as qualifying gets underway. These guys did practice in wet conditions. It started out dry, it slowly changed and transitioned into wet weather. Nothing heavy, nothing monsoonal, deluge-like, just a little bit of a passing shower through, but enough to make the track wet and keep everybody on their toes. Let's have a look at those results from practice to highlight exactly what Ewan was talking about, and that is that the FDL boys are here and they mean business. We had a 2-hour practice session. It has come and gone. GSRC 1-2, half a second Jackson Rayhana on Harrison Lewis, but as Ewan quite rightly pointed out, that means very little at this particular point in time. And Jackson Rayhana, who is due for a very solid result in an Australian Open World Nationals, has had no luck in the previous editions. He will be very happy where he sits at the moment, and he'll just be hoping, knowing how stiff a contest he has ahead of him here, how tough a task it's going to be, he'll be hoping that he's still leading the pack at the end of qualifying, let alone at the end of the night. Scott Barchin, Craig Edwards, Mark Hillig, 2 of those names familiar to the GSRC audience, 3rd and 5th, of course. So the top 2 are GSRC, the next 4 are, of course, our friends from FDL. Sean Campbell there in 7th, and he can pedal just about anything he jumps behind the wheel of, trust me. And then Brodie McConkey, Doug Gowan's the first of the SRW brigade, and Alex Stevens make up the top 10. 1.5 seconds separating 1st and 10th. That is a little bit surprising to me, gentlemen, but what's your take on all of that?
I think one of the things that's worth noting about that amount of gap is the fact that it was raining, as you mentioned, throughout practice, and the session generally will have been getting drier and drier throughout because it hasn't been raining for a while. It's just taken quite a long time for the water to get cleared away. So I would expect that some of that gap has been created by the fact that it's been difficult conditions over the course of the session. There's the bottom end of the standings, and yeah, I think FDL probably take the heart out of practice, but as we all know, practice doesn't mean anything until we get to qualifying in the race.
The one thing, we'll take some trackside footage for you now, ladies and gentlemen, because we're about to have some flying laps banked for the first time in this qualifying session. Daniel Carrier may be able to also alert us to the server track time as well when these sessions in context of the day are taking place. There it is for you on the right-hand side of your screen, 3:18 in the afternoon. So the one thing you've got to worry about, well, actually, the one thing you don't have to worry about, because the server is actually set in the future, ladies and gentlemen. It's October 22, 2025, which brings with it a point that was actually a subject matter that was discussed before we got on air here, ladies and gentlemen. You won't have to worry about daylight because New South Wales is one of those parts of the world that observes the progressive and civilised concept of daylight saving. And even if we race beyond 6 o'clock server time, we're going to be right for daylight there this evening at the Mount Panorama Circuit. Very nicely done, and I've ticked that box off people's bingo cards before we get too far into qualifying. Josh, as we see some laps banked here, the first one from Mark Hilly, 2:02.055. You mentioned the drying track. That's going to be a very interesting element of this qualifying session, timing your run. I reckon we might see a few more laps towards the end of the session that flirt with the top of the leaderboard as a result of that. But there are 2 things I want to get you to chime in on here, mate. And one is that the GSRC boys have had to reacquaint themselves with the Super Formula Light machine because it has not been part of our Term 3 offering. We've been in the Super Formula, the big brother instead. And with that, there are also 2 GSRC members out there tonight that are, yes, here in a competitive capacity, but they're not eligible for GSRC points, yet if they bring home the bacon tonight, we'll take the credit. Because they are 2 of our former champions. That is the way in which they've earned their qualification for tonight, mate. Just to elaborate on the presence of Jack O'Donnell and Sam Chapman for me, please.
Yeah, nailed it, Zach. So we have taken 13 drivers from each of the leagues to participate in the Teams Championship, but we made a executive decision essentially to not include those 2 previous champions in the Teams Championship, as they didn't actually participate in the qualifiers that we ran on our channel. So the GSRC, yes, we did give the Super Formula Lights a bit of a rest, and as such, we needed a series to run our qualifiers for, and as close as we could, not really that close. We ran the Super Formulas much quicker, and yeah, massive difference. Like, and one of the actual standouts that you're going to have a laugh about, boys, is one Sean Campbell only bought the car this morning.
Doesn't surprise me that he is at the upper echelons of the leaderboard already, because we know what he brings to the table. Such a versatile performer last term in GT3, in the Super Formula, in the NASCAR even. I reckon I commentated him to a win there. The guy does perform well in just about anything he jumps behind the wheel of. And when you look at his I rating, it's through the bloody roof. So no one's really particularly surprised by that. So he will be a contender tonight. He will throw his hat into the ring, and it will be on in earnest. We'll go through that field in more details in just a few moments' time, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to the leaderboard here. Mark Healy on top, Harrison Lewis, Doug Gowans, 1, 2, 3. First three are from 3 different clubs. That bodes well for what will be coming your way in a few moments' time. Orbit Drop Bear, 1, 2. Yes, those guys are teammates on any other night of the week. They're not teammates tonight. They're racing for different clubs. But one notable absentee, boys. Unfortunately, Sinka, Danny Davison, a late withdrawal.
Yeah, late withdrawal. But just for the viewers out there, you'll see there's a colour code out on the qualifying board at the moment. The green is the FDL drivers. There you go. GSR are the we'll call it pink, but it's not. Is that a sexy apricot?
Orange.
Orange, is it? And SRW
I'm not sure
are
who
in
came up with
red.
that colour, but we'll be having a word with them after the fact. But that's another story. Go on with it, Sinka.
And
then
gold is, yes, sorry, Sticker.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
No, the one that we can't see there, when there is time on the board by one of the ex-champions, will be gold. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And then whoever is lit up, you'll see the names in the bottom left-hand corner, but on the tower, they'll be in a brighter green as well. So you'll be able to see where they are on the actual tower as well. But also, in our respective YouTube chats, Facebook, whatever it is that you're out there, please let us know if you're watching someone in particular want, and we're not getting them on camera. We're quite happy to switch them around. It's going to be a long race, a lot of fun, and we want the viewers to get involved as well. So like, subscribe to all the channels, and also just keep asking questions and having a bit of fun out there, because it makes it entertaining for us as well. A bit of viewer conversation is awesome.
You and I have very different definitions of long, Sinka. We've been here for 4 of these before. They're all the same length, and they all fly on by in the blink of an eye. Tonight will be no different. However, gentlemen, let's obviously highlight the one thing that we haven't been able to escape in any previous edition of the Australian Open World Nationals, and that is the presence of the safety car. A huge probability that we will see it again tonight.
Yeah, the question is how many times.
Ewan?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just want to mention one thing on Mark Healy, because on that point, on the safety cars, because he's currently leading this qualifying session. He did win the championship, the most recent FDL championship, but this was his worst round on the last FDL season at Bathurst. Made an unforced error coming back down the hill again, and well, at the time we thought maybe that's cost him a championship. In the end it didn't, and he got home quite comfortably actually, but at the time it was quite a big moment, and he'll be there's a big crash over the top there. He'll be hoping to extinguish those here tonight with a better performance, that's for sure.
Scott Barton's one of those. I think Thomas Hinz was the other. Let's have a look at it again. Oh, actually, no, Barchin's actually gone off at the chase, so I don't have a rego on the top of the mountain. That was Barchin getting all caught up in a puddle down at the bottom, and that is going to be a trip-up point for these drivers tonight. This was Bondi, unfortunately, the boy from Gundagai, at the top of the mountain, and this is going to hurt. Oh,
Puddles, man, the puddles, they're deadly. They are deadly.
And that is one thing to point out as well. I don't know how it is on your side of the map there, Ewan, the other side of the world, but in Australia, it's from 5 p.m. onwards, it's definitely not getting any warmer. So we're looking at approximately 23 track degrees. So I don't know that top of the track is actually going to dry out any.
Oh, geez, Tommy Donahue, and he is one of the guys tonight. I don't know who flew over the top of him there, but So the Bond incident was separate to Donahue.
Another two at the
And-
top. They're all hitting that puddle.
Yeah. So maybe when we get towards the end of this session, and remember, there's only 4 minutes to go. So if you're leaving pit lane now, you're only going to get one shot at this. One flying lap. Jeez, that went by quick. See, I told you, Sinka. It flies by when you're having fun here on Australia Overall Nationals night. That was Matt Schmidtke getting caught up at the chase as well. But this is the point. These guys have had very little time in this session to get out there and acquaint themselves with track conditions. But there's going to be something to be said about driving to them in order to better your opportunity of bagging a solid grid position here.
All I've got to say is, so far, they haven't been SRW cars.
So far. So far.
We're waiting for the race, mate. We're waiting for the
Let's
race.
have that conversation again in an hour after the racing. Absolutely.
Yeah, in all seriousness, the amount of cars on track, on the mountain, these puddles, they're not gonna dry out that quick. We know how iRacing how slow it is. They're gonna be a hazard all the way through, mate. An absolute hazard. So anyone that's trying to make a pass, not on the natural line, or even some of these puddles that are on the natural line, it's gonna be tough.
Mark Hilly on top by 800ths of a second at the moment. Let's follow this through, boys. We've got 3 minutes left in qualifying, and this is Sean Campbell in 12th, trying to get himself up into the top 10. We went from having 1.5 seconds covering the top 10 earlier in the pace to 1.15, and that's a hard lap, a hot lap undone for Harrison Willis.
Yeah, Lilas.
Unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
And Sean Campbell's gone to the top. Sean Campbell with a 2 minutes .265. Don't worry about the fact he only brought the car this morning or last night American time, Josh Zuno. Straight to the top. Hilly's eclipsed him. Into the 59s we go.
And Douglas Gowrange, by the way, as well moves up to third place. So all three clubs again are in the top three.
Doug Gowan's off the track. Straight on the back of banking that lap. Exit hard left at Hell Corner. And it is going to be held tonight. Here's the man that was fastest in practice. His name is Jackson Rayhana.
He's had a lot of bad luck in this series.
Oh, indeed he has.
Oh, have a look at that. You've got one entry point into the final corner and puddles on each side of it. So that's going to be deadly at the start of the race.
To second. And he'd be happy with that. He'll let Mark Hilly take pole for the moment, I'm sure, if it means being in the best possible position to set yourself up for a crack at the race win, because that's all that matters.
Still a couple of fast boys that haven't set some fast times. It looks like some of them are being a bit more safe and trying to get up the pointy end rather than trying to get up the very, very top.
So Ewan's got bragging rights at the moment. And this is warming up for his final flyer too, boys.
Just about, I was going to mention on Jackson Rihanna, by the way, will definitely be claiming a victory if he wins, because he battled with Mark Hilly for the title in FDL as well. So there you go, just pointing that out before we get to the race.
And that's the point as well. Like, I mean, it would have been a difficult decision for some of these guys. Not so for others, but a difficult decision for some who are invested in both series. So your loyalty is tested on a night like this. There's no doubt about that. Here comes Harrison Willis trying to get heat into the tyres. He gets to the line with 33 seconds to spare. He's off on his last lap of qualifying. Hilly has pole at the moment, 4 tenths to the good. Rayhana, Campbell, Gowan, Stevens and Lewis the top 6. Clean run out of Hell Corner. I'm getting... Ewan, we have this race meeting in October in Australia. Super taxis and 161 laps and 1,000 kilometres and other things, right? And the state of the track at the moment in Server with those puddles on the edges, that's giving off real 2022 start vibes, boys.
Yeah, and I did a Bathurst 1000 actually last weekend in iRacing, and it was very, very difficult to clear the water away after a very, very short rain shower. So I would say that, I can't remember who said it, but this water is going to stay here for the race, and it's probably not going to be cleared before the finish.
100%. Yeah, it's going to be hectic all the way through. Anything can happen. The only sad thing is that I'm seeing a lot of SRW drivers holding up the ladder.
Oh, no. Hey, someone's got to do it. And to be fair, you want to do it at this end of the night. You don't want to be doing it at the end. You want to do it now. In fact, here's the first couple of stories for you, right? Craig Bond hasn't set a time. Eduardo Zamora hasn't set a time. Jackson Dole, Nathan Burney, Mitch Noble, Giuliano Sinesi, they have all not set a time. So what's the ruling there, boys? Are they allowed to start at the back of the grid, or is it a pit lane start for them?
They'll start
just back at the grid.
whatever iRacing allocates them based on what they've done out there.
I have a little bit of inside information as well. So that crash that we saw at the last corner, Harrison Lillas was on a 58.
Oh,
so
no.
that is absolutely gut-wrenching for him.
Well, we're
Let's see what he
riding
can
with
do.
him at the moment. Has he been able to piece it together to the final corner to try and eclipse Mark Hilly on the final lap of the qualifying session? No, but Sean Campbell does! And Lewis goes down! Sean Campbell with the death! 1:59.648 for Sean Campbell. Lewis improved. Hilly responds. Hilly has got pole.
What the hell?
3 changes to the leaderboard in the final moments of the session, and that's why we love the Australian Open World Nationals. Hilly gets pole, and he still put quarter of a second on Campbell. Lewis improved into the 59s, Rayhana as well. So 3 GSRC boys, second, third, and fourth, but FDL have bragging rights first up on a Wednesday night.
One more thing. Joshko, you're in the back there. Are you going to be providing us data and points based on team positions as well?
Yeah, so in the race, guys, we do have a bit of a overlay that we've created that should be automatically calculating the points for the team's championship. So everyone in the field is racing for points for their team. So there is a point allocated, I believe 60 is for P1, and then it scales down the further you go in the position ladder. But yeah, we should keep track of that one. There is a 75% finishing, to qualify 4 points. But yeah, that's going to be a big one as well.
Now, I wanted to come back to something before these guys are obviously going to line up and we're going to go racing, gentlemen, and we'll have a look at the grid for you in just a moment. But Sinka, we didn't get a chance to come back to you, mate, because all hell broke loose out there on track, as you saw. Firstly, incidents, and then second, times tumbling. But and they're about to line up and go. So we've got very little time here. It's amazing how historic and synonymous with the world of motorsport and with Australian motorsport this circuit is. How many Australian drivers actually, as much as they love it, just cannot wrap their head around it. It's a different mongrel, isn't it?
Oh, it's an absolute beast, and that's where this track takes victims like having a sneeze and a floral fest. You know, it's crazy. It's going to be. You know what? I'm trying not to say too much because at the moment I am packing myself because I'm looking at this grid and all I can see is one SRW driver. Let's get this thing going so I don't have to look at it.
Mark Hilly and Sean Campbell, the front row. Harrison Lewis, Jackson Rayhana, the second row. Doug Gowans, Alex Stephens, the third row. Craig Edwards, Tom Donoghue, and Scott Marchand and Brodie McConkey make up the top 10. 6 FDL drivers in the top 10. 3 GSRC, 1 SRW. Darren Yeaman to 11th. A former 2-time AOWN champion in 12th in Sam Chapman. Angus Milne and Alex Tzikis on the 7th row of the grid. Thomas Hinds, Greg Barber, the 8th. Dylan De Bono, Tristan McLaren, the 9th. And then Thomas Sinner and Adam Lavis from row 10. Row 11, Scott Pocock, and I need to get a rego on the surname there, Timothy Schmallenberg. Then you go back to Daniel Byrne, Matt Schmidtke on the 12th row. 13th row, Jack Rebellion and Nicholas Martin, Jason Depp, and Nicholas Schmallenberg from, so you got 2 Schmallenbergs out there. That's going to be good to wrap your head around at fast pace, isn't it, boys? From the 14th row, Giuliano Sinesi on the 15th row alongside Matt Tesorio. Then you go back to Tyler Sheaf, Travis Azzopardi on the 16th row, Andrew Proctor and Cameron Dance the 17th, Greg Heaney, Nathan Verney the 18th, Johnny Bannack and Eduardo Zamora from the 19th, Craig Bond, Jackson Dole from the 20th, and Mitch Noble will be alongside nobody there on the 21st row. Righto, so we're going to form up, boys. We're going to take our time with it here.
Angus Milne's got himself a pit lane start for impeding.
Oh, okay. Copy that. Jackson Rayhana from 4th on the grid here, boys. Quickly, Ewan, who's your money on? Can Hilly convert this into pole? I'm not sure we've had a winner from pole in the Australian Open World Nationals before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult because of the guys who are lined up behind him. To be honest, I wouldn't like to pick a race winner, but I know I have to. It's almost impossible. I'm going to go for Hilly just because he's an FGL driver and it would be something that's not happened before. But it's so unpredictable. There's no way of knowing who's going to win this race.
I was going to say Jackson Ray Hunter until Sean Campbell showed up. Sinka?
Mate, I'm not making a single comment in case I put the MOZA on any of my drivers.
All right, well, let's just strap in and enjoy the ride then, shall we? Can we have a look at the track and circuit weather conditions now that we've ticked over into the race server, please, Dan Correa, sir? 3 minutes already gone here, so the grid's nearly finished forming. 34.4 the track temperature, but still very lightly wet, so we've got to work through those tricky conditions in the opening stages of the 5th instalment of the MOZA Racing Australian Open World Nationals on a Wednesday night. Let's go. Blinder of a start from Mark Hilly. Sean Campbell went nowhere, and he's lost 2 spots off the outset. Let's hope we can get through Hell Corner cleanly. Otherwise, it is going to be absolute hell. It's going to live up to its
down the back 2.
Yep, trouble already.
Oh, we've got 1, 2, 3 cars.
At Hell Corner.
1 in the dirt.
Oh dear, Matt Schmidtke already on pit lane. Angus Milne has rejoined from the back. Adam Proctor's off the circuit. Big dive down the inside. And that was Chapo going up into 9th. He's up 3 spots already, Ewan. Great start though from Mark Hilly converting from pole.
Yeah, Chavez alongside Brooke McConkie and goes through, I think. McConkie outside the top 10. Actually, normally one of those drivers, Brody McConkie, who actually moves forward on the opening lap of races. That's generally been the trend, but he's qualified actually rather well here today, and so moving forward is going to be very, very difficult indeed. But clean start from those at the front of the field. For those 3, by the way, who went off at Hell Corner, there was 1 from each club involved, so kind of evens out, although Angus Mills' pit lane start doesn't help FDL.
No, it doesn't. And Matt Schmidtke's already parked up. He said, I'm done, I've had enough. Unlucky. The first retirement of the night is from the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And we are down to 39. Andrew Proctor, the last of those at the back of the field. Eduardo Zamora's off track at the top of the mountain. So too Angus Milne. But in the meantime, we make it to Conrod Straight. The wide open spaces of Conrod Straight, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to these things in full flight as they head towards the fastest corner in Australian motorsport for the first time. Mark Hilly, Jackson Ray Harm are the top 2 at the moment. And here's Dylan DeBono. He's a convert. He was an SRW trooper once upon a time, was he not?
Yes.
Oh, Chapo's gone. Chapo's out in the weeds.
Chapo, that doesn't mean he's not finished for the race. We'll see Chapo come from the very back of the grid to win last round and took very good advantage of the safety car, which is going to be a tricky one tonight too. Safety car could change the impact of the race.
And Chapo's fallen down in all of that, well down the order. I've got to pick him up at 24th position. Can you believe that? Meanwhile, at the front, Mark Hilly's got the advantage, and we're riding on board with Craig Edwards, Ewan.
Yeah, and he needs some help, Mark Hilly, from his teammates at the moment. Alex Stevens currently the best placed of them, but if you're looking at previous form, you'd expect it to be someone like Craig Edwards who should be supporting Mark Hilly. Here he goes down the inside of Doug Gowans in towards turn 2, and it looks like he's going to go through, although outside the cutting's never an ideal place to be.
Just ask Greg Murphy and Marcus Ambrose. To the left-hander through the cutting, the steepest corner of the circuit. Boy, a 1 in 6 grade. Up to the top of the mountain we go. Blinder at a start from Mark Hilly at 2:01.406 off the jump, and he's already put 1.8 seconds on Jackson Ray Hunter, who was the best in the top 10 as far as the start was concerned, up 2 spots. The big change was that he went up 2 and Sean Campbell went down 2 on the opening lap, and Dan Yeaman, who's always a dark horse when he can have a clean run, is already into the top 10. He's up 2 spots on the opening lap as well.
A lot of gravel already at McPhillamy, I've got to say, as some people have been off the circuit and straight back on again. That was the part of the circuit. There's Tom Donohue's dropping down the field. I wonder what's happened to him at Forest Elbow, it looks like.
As well.
Oh, dear. Oh, no.
Oh, look at that. 2 cars facing the wrong way in the worst spot. He's got another incident right on the same spot. We could have a safety car, guys.
There is your first safety car. Let's have a look at it again. Tom Donohue. Oh, no. And at that position of the circuit,
oh, look at that.
Nothing anyone can do about it.
Safety car's been called.
There we go. There's absolutely nothing you can do. When you're parked there, you're helpless, but everybody arriving is blind to you. And they don't have anything in the way of reaction time. So already, pit stop's underway. First safety car of the night. We knew this would be trouble on the run into pit lane, actually.
Oh, is that going to be a iRacing penalty for entry?
Ooh. Safety car making its way out onto the circuit, but it's not actually going to catch the leaders. They're going to have to come round again. Mark Hilly too quick for them. Harrison Lewis 159.394. And look at the swarm of activity on pit lane. McConkey, Barber, Byrne, Schmallenberg, Hins, Dance. And that's just the start of it. Sheaf and McLaren off track. McLaren, the one parked up pretty wounded at the elbow. The reason for the caution in the first place. Oh boy, we knew it was going to be action-packed, boys, but I didn't expect we'd get a safety car in the first 5 minutes until we saw the patchwork quilt that is the wet and dry of the racetrack that we're playing on tonight.
Going to be tricky all night tonight. Just while the safety cars coming out and everything, have a look at Craig Bond up 23 places.
Yeah.
Jackson Dial up 20. Craig Kearney up 19. Travis has a party up 18. There's some boys that have done some major moving up that field.
You had made a key point there a few moments ago, right? As you can see, the yellow indicators in the totem pole on the left-hand side of the screen there, ladies and gentlemen. We are at our first safety car of the night. Harrison Lewis, the fastest start of the race. Mark Hilly, the race leader. They're all coming back to pit lane at a ginger tempo here. It'll be interesting to see if they dive for pit lane or stay out. So there's a couple of things here, right? Into pit lane comes Jackson Ray Hanna. He's gambling and going early. So,
that entry,
that entry was treacherous for Ray Hanna. Hopefully it doesn't trip him up. However, boys, as I take a little bit of a breath here and let you guys have a bit of a chin wag, you and I want to steer in the direction of two things. One, you mentioned the key word there a few moments ago, the rubbish being dragged back onto the racetrack. Debris was a huge talking point in the third edition of the Australian Open World Nationals. Mark Hilly's just passed the safety car, has he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I think he was.
Mark Hilly has just passed the safety car.
Yeah, he's just been told. He's just been told to move back. Yeah, he's just been told to move back.
It's all happening here. Tick that one off your bingo card, ladies and gentlemen. He's just done a Jamie Wynn Cup. Now, secondly, the other point as well here, boys, is fuel, right? We've already seen a couple of guys opt to go for the lane. Some didn't have a choice, too much damage, etc., etc. But if we get safety car after safety car, that could make this a one-stop race, yeah?
Well, yeah, I think the guys that have gone for the pit stop now, I think they've made a bad move. Because we've seen the amount of water that's on this track, and there's bound to be another safety car out there. I would have taken the punt for a later safety car instead of the early one. I would have kept track position as a key. Yeah. So I reckon the guys that have gone early have gone a bit too early.
Jackson Ray Hanna, as someone that pitted from the top end of town, has rejoined the race in ninth under a safety car.
Yeah.
So he's still actually in this with a good chance at the moment. You and your thoughts?
Yeah, one of the reasons, by the way, for that, just before I get to anything else, is the fact that some of the guys further down outside the top 10 backed off a bit when the safety car came out. The leaders absolutely pinned it still and just carried on. So Rihanna's actually done a sort of mini overcut, if you like, from what you might see later on in the race, actually under the safety car, which of course perfectly illegal, hasn't done anything wrong, but it has gained him ninth place, as you can see in this running order here. But just to mention, we'll have a look at some replays before I get to that. This is lap 1, I believe.
Yeah. And the problem is most of these guys have opted to start on dries. So as soon as you hit those puddles, if you get the wrong end of the mill, you're a passenger sinker.
Oh, most of them, mate. All of them on dries. All of them on dries.
Yep.
Yeah, look, these puddles are going to give us... You can see there's nothing fading. They still look exactly the same at the beginning of the race. It's just going to keep coming. And look, you know what? It's as a viewer, it's awesome. As a driver, it's going to be scary.
And I might just point out...
Sorry, Josh. Next question is, mate, you might be able to answer this for me, actually, because you're part of the organising committee. The lapped cars in the queue, Eduardo Zamora, Giuliano Sinesse, will they be let by?
Anyone who's not involved in an incident, like who didn't call the safety car, who hasn't called for a tow, will be given a release around to unlap themselves.
So that will still happen, which means we've probably got another lap under safety car. Go for it, Josh.
No, I was just going to say, I'm actually really going to keep my eyes peeled on Jax now. So that full lap pitting, you know, I'm not too sure how much they use, but it's definitely in the tune of 1 to 1.5 seconds that he could potentially save in a later safety car pit stop, because we all know they're going to be pitting under safety cars again. I have absolutely zero doubt on that. And that 1 to 1.5 seconds could be all the difference.
Problem is going to be track position and whether he's going to be able to take advantage of that 1.5 seconds by way of being in the right position on the racetrack. So he's got a little bit of work to do to put himself back in the right spot. We know he's got the potential to do it, but the track's dicey at the moment, so there's more risk factor associated or attached to it at this point. Mark Hilly leads, Harrison Lewis second, Sean Campbell third, and Alex Stevens fourth. Doug Gowan's fifth, Dan Yeaman up to sixth. We've started lap 5. It's the Australian Open World Nationals. The platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, SRW, and of course the newcomers FDL this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is terrific to have you along for the ride. It's 17 past 11 in the United Kingdom at the moment, 17 past 10 GMT, 6:17 a.m. in the eastern parts of the United States at the moment, 3:17 a.m. on the West Coast, around the area, of course, in which Sean Benici would be tuning in, of course. Here in Australia, we're at 8:17. It's, of course, 6:17 on the West Coast and 7:47 in central parts of Australia. 17 past 10, a late night serving of Wednesday night motorsport for our mates across the ditch in New Zealand. Wherever you're tuning in around the world, we hope you're enjoying our coverage of the 5th running of the MOZA Racing Australian Open World Nationals. And it is going to be an absolute rip snorter once we get back going here. Josh Zuno's just ducked out to get some intel. Let me throw the conversation around here, boys. Winners and losers out of that start. Anybody that was able to keep it clean is obviously a winner. There's already a few walking wounded, though. Tyler Sheaf back in pit lane, so too Andrew Proctor. Eduardo Zamora, the big loser from the GSRC. Matt Schmidtke didn't even make it in the first corner, so we're 2 horses out of the race already, boys.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to discount you at all, mate, because you look at the amount of pink ones at the top there. The race, all the unlapped cars have unlapped themselves now, so now it's back to normal standings. They'll go to race format at the end of this lap, I believe. So we're ready to rock and roll. Can we see who's pitted and who hasn't spitted on this ladder so the viewers can get an idea of what is going to happen later on, because strategy is going to be a key thing coming through the rest of this race.
Sinka, that information for everybody at home is the last column to the right.
Yep.
So for everybody at home, you'll see that there's some drivers running one column more than everybody else. They're the guys that have already transited the lanes. So that is everyone from Rayhana to Edwards to McConkey and Barber, etc., down the line there. This just whets the appetite for the rest of the day, Ewan. This will get the blood pumping for the afternoon over there in England for you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, about to approach. Just want to mention one thing on those pit stops, by the way, because it's noticeable, I think, that FDL have completely disappeared from the front of the field. I mean, only Hilly and Stevens now are up there in the top 4, both doing rather well, but as the safety car pulls away. It's very common in FDL racing to pit under the safety cars. In fact, if you don't, it's very unusual. So I wonder whether a bit of lack of experience of this race has come into play for some of the guys who only race FDL, and they've sort of gone back into factory settings and taken their pit stop as you normally would in our series.
Factory settings, I like that. Well played. Nice reference at this time of the night. The other thing too, and you mentioned it earlier, behaviour at the deployment of the safety car. Race awareness, racecraft. I want to come back and explore that in the next safety car, because as Josh said, there's bound to be one. So if we get to that, if not, it's something we'll come back and discuss as a talking point at the end of the race, because if you haven't yet caught the safety car, as long as you're ceding caution to the incident area, it is fair game. You can go full tilt back to the lane, whether it was saving fuel, whether it was just not awareness of caution procedure. It could be either or for those guys that did drag the chain, I should say. Set to go back to green on the mountain. Mark Hilly will lead us to green, and it's your call, Ewan Leary.
It's going to be Mark Healy to bring them back to the green flag. And look at his normal teammates, by the way, taking the clubs out of the equation just for a moment. The normal teammates he's got lined up behind him, Villas and Campbell, second and third. Oh, big spin out of turn one. It's Daniel Yemen who's gone round.
He was having a good run. We might have put the mocker on him. He was sitting up there in 6th. Rayhana's already up to 7th. So Rayhana restarted 9th and is already up to 7th, boys. Back to green on the mountain.
This could be his season. His turn.
Ignore the yellows at the top there. We are back to green at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you. There we go. Thank you, Dan Korea-Sar, doing a beautiful job with the producer's chair tonight as we stretch across the top of the mountain for the 6th time. But only the 3rd time in race trim. And look at Lillis giving his teammate Mark Hilly the big hurry up. They're decked out the same, but they're representing different clubs tonight. At what point does team loyalty go out the window here and they think about club bragging rights?
That was a big one at the cutting, guys. That was a big one.
They've got someone's requested a tow. Safety car's been called. Safety car has been called.
Yep. We'll go back and have a look at the cutting in a moment here. And this is exactly what we talked about, 100% probability of safety car. And the track not completely blocked. Oh, it was then. Ooh. Yep, there we go. Oh.
A lot of guys involved in that.
It was the exit of the cutting, not the entry.
Yeah, Milner to toe, I think.
And look at that, the track pretty much completely blocked. And this is where, if iRacing had introduced a red flag already, and amongst all the great upgrades they've made over the last 5 years, would be red flagging the race right about now, boys.
Yeah, Schmellenberg's destroyed that car completely. His and the car that was turned
look at them, they're all in. They're all in. Look at this. Yeah. They're all on the road.
Yeah, I'm actually the restart coming across the start-finish line. I was watching the cars go too wide, and I was looking at to see if anyone had actually passed anyone on before the control line, which would have been a bit of an issue, but no one's called it in, so it must have been clean.
No. And that point you were making earlier as we watched pit lane activity unfold here, and again, Jackson Rayhana's going to put himself in a good position here. Harrison Lewis, Mark Hilly, and Sean Campbell. And Jackson Rayhana will be 4th off the pit road of those that went to pit road. He was 7th at the time the safety car was called. So again, topping up that tank continues to work for the Summit Sim Sports Racing engineer. So, or pilot, I should say, is not the engineer. That's Johnny Simpson's department, of course, from Flash Graphics. But the thing here is that mistake that was made earlier, Ewan, by the guys that weren't aware that they could continue on at a moderate tempo. They didn't make that mistake second time round. Lesson learned.
Yeah, race control actually told them to keep a tight tempo.
Oh dear, look at this, by the way.
Oh.
A graveyard, isn't it?
Yep, there's a few contenders falling by the wayside there. I mean, we'll pick it all apart for you very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, can we get an ident on the 2 cars that are still stuck there, stranded at the cutting, please?
There's 3 there. I think it's Matt Tezzarello. Thomas Hinz is there, and Nicholas Schmallenberg is there as well. I think.
There you go.
From there they all are. Surprised about Thomas Hinz, by the way. Been very anonymous so far for FDL, but this is only adding to his troubled afternoon, and he'll be spending a while in pit lane after this.
Yeah, and the further you are down that order, Sinka, it would seem it's easier to run into trouble at the moment. I mean, that would normally be the case on any racetrack, but particularly here at Mount Panorama, there are a couple of exceptions to the rule, though, that have been able to ride their luck tonight, and that is another key component to success around here. You need to grab a little bit of luck and take it when it's presented to you.
100%. You need to be away from the trouble and be aware. You see that dust, you need to anticipate that there's something going on in front of you and back it away. It's not going to cost you the race to back it off a little bit and be a bit cautious. But the guys at the front end are the guys that are going to be just storming away. Everyone else is going to be trying to fight through these puddles.
Craig Bond's up 33 spots. Greg Heaney's up 31. The 2 GSRC boys haven't stopped yet, but they're up 33 and 31 positions respectively. Travis Azzopardi makes it 3 GSRC members with a 30 plus, but Sinka, you're in the lead.
Look, Mickey Martin has had a cracking season. He's actually one of our up-and-coming drivers from Get a Grip. He's done really well in the back half of the season, so it's good to see him get a reward and start the race off. He's going to be no slouch off the line. He's going to be a bit tactical, but he's still the only one out there, mate. You need partners in this sort of race out there beside you to race alongside you, protect you a little bit as well. And at the moment, you've got, what do we got? As a party, Edwards, Healy, McConkey, Barber, Bond, Byrne. You know, there's still a lot of guys that aren't being protected by each other.
Actually, you've just given me a stupidly good idea from a broadcaster standpoint, but not from an organiser or a race controller or a competitor standpoint. You mentioned teammates, right? The first thing that came to mind is let's put these guys on the Daytona International Speedway and have a real race of it. Pack racing around the bank to Daytona. Is that a good idea for AOWN6? I'm not sure.
It's an Australian open wheel national. That's all I'm going to say.
Wait. We've had three Australian open wheel nationals held on European soil. The Americans have got a... Yet.
I don't. As long as we don't just go left, and then maybe a couple more lefts, I'm happy.
I love it. Hey, just talk us through, because obviously we landed on Mount Panorama, and you know, as Australian motor racing fans, we absolutely love any opportunity we have to go racing at this Mecca. But there were a couple of other circuits on the wheel there, including the Bend in South Australia. So there were 2 bites at the cherry for the Aussies. We've picked the right one, obviously, because the quality of the spectacle that the Bend provides, I reckon, is very much dependent upon the car in which you're steering around it. We've had a couple of very stale races there in the Porsches, for instance, as testament to that. But talk us through the selection process and how you come up with those tracks that you put on the wheel for random selection, mate.
So we actually leave that to the drivers that are involved in the setup and everything, and Joshy gets in there as well. I sort of sit back a little bit. For me, the perspective is making sure we've got a good broadcast show. That's what I always look for. For the drivers, they've been looking at nuances in the track, something that's going to suit the car, something that's going to let the cars be able to race each other at a competitive level. This track was put up as something that is going to be a little bit harder than what the last few tracks we've had. The last few tracks are like, we're talking F1 style tracks, lots of runoff, lots of space, a little bit less carnage because the guys have got somewhere to run off to. Unfortunately for Bathurst and these cars don't take much impact. But when they hit these walls, they disintegrate very quickly, and it's going to make it a little bit harder. It was a spin of the wheel, but you know what? I think it's brought the level of driving specialists down to an even sort of fight, which has been a good one for the introduction of FDL, and it's brought it back to a certain level. Gives these guys another season, end of this coming quarter will be another race. Gives these other boys from GSR and SRW to improve.
I was all in favour of Mexico City, but I was clearly outvoted. Maybe that needs to go on the wheel for the next one. Quickly, can we get an update on time and track conditions, please? Daniel Correa-Sar, safety car heading back to the pits in a fair hurry. If we can have a look, there it is. So we're at 4:01 in the afternoon, 7 km/h winds. In a mostly, east to northeasterly direction, 23 degrees the ambient, 33 on track, and still very lightly wet, although looking at the length and depth of the puddles around the circuit, I would argue against very. I think lightly wet is right, but very might be a stretch, might be extracting a little bit of the proverbial. But in saying all that, Sinka's going to take us back to green in a moment, ladies and gentlemen, because it's his pilot on top here. But having had a look at the track conditions at the top of the mountain there when they were passing through the skyline that last time by, still very much only a one-line groove through there at the moment. Sinka, bring us back to green, my friend. The Australian Open World Nationals and restart number 2. Oh no, Greg Heaney's gone! Greg Heaney's gone at the chase on the commencement of the restart. Can you believe that? Go for it.
Oh,
Oh, Craig Edwards
Got
is
down the
wrong.
back, was rotating the hidden puzzles. Craig Edwards has gone round, but we've got Nicky Martin's done the real smart thing and gone a bit early and caught a lot of these boys napping. Straight away, he's got himself a good gap. But as a party, Connolly and Barber have followed him right through with Duval, all chasing nicely, coming up the mountain as we go.
Oh, no, there it is. There it is. More trouble. Bondi's gone. He's not the only one.
Oh, look at that all going everywhere. I haven't heard safety car called yet, but I think we're...
It won't be far off. Harrison Lewis is gone. Harrison Lewis is done.
We did
One of the
tell
key
you.
contenders on the platform.
Safety car is on its way.
Is biting the dust. Can you believe this? This was Bondi through the
It's the
puddles.
puddles, it's the puddles. As I said earlier,
Dominoes.
you've got to stay off the puddles in these cars. It's just, you can't risk it. And the boys that are staying off the puddles are the ones that are getting closer and closer to the pointy end of this grid. Have a look at this.
Oh, Bondi, no. And unfortunately, Bondi didn't give himself any leverage there because it was all four wheels through that puddle. He had no hope.
Yeah,
and Harrison Lewis has got no drive.
Absolutely.
That thing is done.
Well,
Another
Nicky Martin did a good
contender
job
bites it up.
getting off.
Well, absolutely. Could you imagine how many more cars would have been involved if he'd mucked it up, eh?
Yeah, very much so.
Travis has a party to second. Look who's fourth. The winner of the Australian Open World Nationals when it visited Mugello in Italy. Jackson Dial is fourth. And right in the mix here as we head back to pit lane for some of these guys and we head back to a neutralised situation here for the third time tonight with the... what's the record? This would have to be the record for the number of safety cars in the Australian Open World Nationals. And I reckon we can... we've got plenty of time to add to it yet too, boys. 26 minutes gone, and what have we had? Maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes of green flag running if we're lucky. It's going to be a long night.
I have to give full props to Stephanie Piccoli, our safety car driver, has done an exceptional job doing laps at Bathurst.
He might get classified the way he's going.
No, it's a she, Stephanie.
Sorry, Stephanie. Right, yes, no, thank you. She might get classified for your mob yet.
Well, yeah, she hopefully we can add it. Hey, Josh, add Stephanie to the points, please.
That's it. She's definitely in the mix to get classified. My goodness, that was Greg Heaney before we even got to the restart. He was able to get back going, but unfortunately, yeah.
Man, what happened? We did have some boys out the pointy end and we were looking good for a bit then. But Greggy Barber, who has been the silent assassin, I don't know what happened to him. He must have got mixed up in that corner here as they came through.
Mark Gilly off in the graph.
Who did we lose?
Avoiding the crash through turn 1. Craig Edwards, by the way, spinning at the final corner for FDL as a bit of a surprise, bit of a rainmaster. Unfortunately going around there on that restart, but another restart where we've had incident, unfortunately. I'm still not seeing the safety car actually out on the circuit yet, by the way. I'm not sure if anybody else seeing anything different, but...
No, that's very true.
I see it still racing.
I think so. I think they've let this one go, which is interesting. We were told that the safety car was coming, but no, they're definitely racing. So, I mean, I'm only relying on the word of Sinka, so Sinka might have given us a bum.
Say safety car, but it looks like it wasn't called.
It might have been on standby. Well, that's good news because it means we get to go racing, and Travis has a party's gone to the front for Whiskey Business Racing and the GSRC. As a party from 32nd on the grid leads the Australian Open World Nationals at the end of the 10th lap, and we're gone 28 minutes already, ladies and gentlemen. This is extraordinary.
We've got 30 minutes to go, and we've had how many rounds of racing? The rest has been all, have a look how dangerous that was coming through there. He made it quite well. Nicky Martin is following quite tightly. My advice to Nicky Martin at the moment is stay as close as possible, but stay off the wet stuff.
Easier said than done at the moment, especially when you get the skyline. 1 inch out of
taking
place
it
there.
back.
Brilliant from Nick Martin. Brilliant.
Great work by Martin.
One wheel too far wide at the top of the mountain and you're going to pay the price. So staying online is going to be so crucial to success here. And look at them, they're actively going about steering clear of those puddles. They know they are fraught with danger and so much of it We're right on board with one of your mob, Ewan. That's, of course, Brodie McConkey.
Yeah, a slightly unusual strategy because appeared on lap 2, as did Jackson Dowell lap 3 on that first safety car, and has not pitted again since. No, the two in front haven't pitted at all, but yeah, McConkey flying the flag at the moment for FDL, doing a decent job of it at the moment as the leading FDL driver. Maybe wouldn't have expected him to be the leader of FDL so far today, but that's how weird these races get. You'd expect it from Mark Hilley, but Hilley's not that far away. He pitted on lap 6 and is running back in the top 5 again.
Let's run through. Sorry, Sinka, you go.
I was going to say, not to get you too excited, Zach, but
mate.
Jackson Dowell, he's having a cracker out there at the moment. And you've got to give credit where credit is due. He's staying out of trouble. He's staying off the wet stuff and doing a cracking job all the way up. What is it, 37 places up?
Yep. But look who's right on his tail. The pole sitters right there with him now as they make their way through Murray's and back onto the main straight. In fact, that's a beautiful run for Mark Hilley. Straight down the inside of Dowell. Dowell will be relegated to 5th here. Cleanly done from Hilley on the run to Hell Corner.
Very clean. Nice driver. Very skilled. Oh, look at the wiggle he got out of that corner as well.
Yeah.
He maintained it. But
as well. Yeah,
it just shows you what the track is doing out there. A driver like that's got to wiggle it out of the corner. Still the boys down the back are still hitting that puddle as they come around that corner.
I want to quickly have a look at the casualty ward at the moment, boys, because by gee, it's a who's who, right? Matt Schmidtke, Eduardo Zamora, Thomas Hins, Nicholas Schmallenberg, Angus Milne, Dylan De Bono. You can't buy luck no matter which club he's running for in the Australian Open World Nationals. Poor old Dylan. Good evening to him, bad luck. Greg Barber, Scott Pocock. Giuliano Sinesi's now back on pit lane, has been for 2 minutes. Tristan McLaren, Harrison Willis has got back out there, but it was after 3.5 minutes on pit lane. He's the better part of 2 laps down. Cesario, Rebellion and Byrne also showing a lap down at the moment. Despite all the carnage, we've still got 26 cars relatively on the lead lap. Although that being said, Nathan Verney's in the vicinity of being a lap down himself.
Alex Stevens, the latest to have trouble, by the way. He's dropping down the field from the top 10.
Sam Chapman up 2 spots as well into the top 10 now. Interesting to note too, boys, let's preface this reminding everybody at home, Rick Martin and Travis Azzopardi yet to stop. They will have to eventually, but they'll be trying to run this as far as they can and keep their fingers crossed for another safety car as they continue what has been a terrific scrap for the lead of the race on the run to the fastest corner in Australian motorsport. How tight do you like it on a Wednesday night? Travis Azzopardi goes back to the front and they're already under pressure from McConkey, and Hilley's up on his outside as well. Here comes Mark Hilley trying to get back into the top 3 to the outside of Murray's. He thinks better of it.
I mean, these are both for an FDL, of course, McConkey and Hilley, so they do need to work something out between the two of them. But that was a really tight battle through the chase. I mean, the line there at that section now is so narrow because of the puddles either side of the racing line. That made it almost impossible for Azzopardi and Martin as well. But they made it work, and they are doing so again up towards turn 2 here.
Whatever you do, boys, keep it clean.
Looks like Nicky Martin's got it back again. These guys are going to keep swapping it after every little bit of draft they can get.
Yep, because if they come undone, it's an enormous domino effect with the rest of the field reeling them in at the moment and eyeing off their track position. To the top of the mountain we go once more. Here's Mark Hilley. It'll be single line groove up through here at the moment. We're keeping an eye on the depth of the puddle. Left and right here at McPhillamy Park and down onto Skyline. There it is, both sides of the racetrack. Good luck finding a clear way through there.
You can actually still see a little bit of the water coming off the tyres as you're coming through that top bit. So it's still going to be pretty greasy out there.
Indeed it will be. But a cracking scrap at the moment. We're right on board with Jackson Rayhana, who sits 7th, 3 spots down on where he started. He's going off Jackson Dowell and Sean Campbell. But again, like Sinka was saying, even though Dowell's not getting points for the GSRC tonight, he is representing the GSRC because if he wins, we're claiming it as 5 on the trot. And they will also, like the FDL boys, as Ewan was mentioning, need to work together here. And Azzopardi nearly had 2 wheels in the dirt. Oh, there it is. There we go. Bang and gone.
Got contact again. Don't move back. You got to hold space. Don't move back.
The seeds part for Mark Hilly to take the lead, and Sean Campbell to go to second, and Jack O'Donnell to third.
Well, we're going to... Race Control's got that one in their little pretty hands. We'll see how that one comes out. But that's changed the pointy end of the stick in a big way. Mark Hill's first, Campbell second, Dale in third, Rian in fourth, Schmellenberg fifth, Cena sixth, Gowan seventh, and Zinzig's in eighth. Is that Maverick or was that Tom Cruise?
Adam
in ninth, and Edwards in 10th.
Up 11 spots to Adam Levis into the top 10. I said to him earlier, good luck, mate, bring it home for us. He said, yeah, right. He's inside the top 10. Brody McConkey, Scott Archer, Nick Martin, Travis has a party. Martin played no role in that incident, but all four men are on pit road at the moment. There it is again.
I'll leave that to the boys down there.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you play
the only
guy
one
on
that
the
concerned me
inside?
then...
Go on.
Sorry.
Go for it, Ewan.
I was just going to say, do you blame the guy on the inside for sort of sticking their nose in there, or the guy on the outside for not giving enough space to the guy on the inside who has, don't forget, got to avoid that puddle on the inside of the braking zone of the chase as well. So that's going to be a really hard one to call, and we'll happily leave that one to Race Control.
100% not touching it with the barge pole, as Mike Raymond used to say. And the interesting, trouble at the top. Was that a car off on the left-hand side
Jackson
of the top there? Yes, it was. Jackson Dial, the winner of the
look at that.
second edition of the Australian Open World Nationals, now could well trigger another safety car here. Oh, no, he's got back going. He has got back going. That is good news. We'll stay green, but he's dropped out of contention back down to 16th now. Oh, my goodness. And another domino falls. Hilly and Campbell lead the way. Go for it, Steve Sinka.
Aris Lilas has just smashed this track with a 1:58.99. He's the only driver on track under the 2-minute mark. I know he's not. There's a couple on the 59s, but he is in the 58s. That is unbelievable. Oh, more carnage.
Trouble, that is Adam Lavis regarding, and Dan Yeaman, I think it was. Lavis and Yeaman, two GSRC members caught up at the chase. Let's have a look at this again. Tom Donahue also had a bird's eye view of this. Lavis caught up and put Yeaman on the... Yep, he had no control of the car at that point, Adam Lavis. Dan Yeaman caught up as an innocent bystander in all of that. Oh, it's all happening here at Mount Panorama. When doesn't it? And we are on lap 15, boys. Now, your point about Harrison Lewis is quite poignant as well, Sinker, because he's only a lap down.
Yeah.
If we get another safety car and he gets his lap back, he's all of a sudden back in contention, back in the race. He's currently sitting there praying for another safety car.
100%. And we have got, we're at the 37-minute mark, so we've got 23 minutes left. So is he got enough time to get himself up pointy? And if that does happen, also, Joshko, what's the point spread across the teams?
Josh isn't here at the moment, but there it is. Whoa, okay.
0-1-2-5-1.
We might not be leading the race.
Hang on, we've got a drive-through. 8-1-8, I believe they said.
8-1-8.
That's a party.
Travis has a party. Yeah, and that will be for that incident at the chase and the chain reaction domino effect it set off. Oh, another one bites the dust.
These two. I tell you what, I don't know about you boys, but I would be super cautious at every move around this track at the moment because these wet spots are taking carnage left, right and centre.
It's heart and mouth stuff, isn't it, at the moment, Ewan?
Yeah. It has been all day, and as I said earlier on, this water's just not going to clear, even over the course of an hour-long race. The rain was ages ago in practice, and we've had a whole qualifying session in between then, some of the practice session, the most of this race, and it's still not clearing away, and it just won't now. It's having such a big effect on this race. I mean, even Douglas Gowans in the last lap went for a spin, or maybe it was the lap before, through the final corner. Just when you make a tiny mistake, go a little bit too wide, you're in the puddles and you're going around. It's so difficult to deal with. And Craig Edwards, who did exactly that through the final corner on the restart, is recovered himself back to a top 5 position here, or at least he will be when he makes this overtake.
Yep, there he is.
And clean.
So you've got 2 horses in the top 5 again all of a sudden. That's 2 FDL, 2 GSRC, and 1 SRW in the top 5 at the moment. And Tzidkas has got by Sinner as well. Back we go to Dougie Gowans on the comeback trail, Sinka.
100% on. He's had an absolute stellar season. But if you have a look at 6th and 7th position, Thomasina, the Pro-Am champion, and I believe Alex Tzidkas was our AM champion this season as well. So, but maybe not in this series. But tell you what, these boys are driving out of their skins. Our big boys, our fast boys, are down the bottom. So, fingers crossed that the light shines on the SRW drivers.
Josh Zuno's rejoined us for the first time in a while. Any news for us, mate?
No, just that I was quite nervous when the safety car may or may not have gone into the wall.
The wall!
That was Andrew Proctor scraping the wall at the top. He continues on, and we stay green.
No, just returning to the booth after reviewing a lot of incidents with GSRC drivers that were tangled up in, not necessarily responsible, just yeah.
Car off at the elbow, but has got back going.
Yeah, I think it was Tyler Sheaf who went for a spin over the top of the hill and back down towards Forest Elbow. Very similar-ish to Tom Donohue's spin earlier on, and just ended up on the other side of the circuit and didn't end up causing a pile-up, thankfully, so got back going again quite quickly.
The rate of the finishing rate is usually fairly high in these sorts of events. I think tonight's going to be the exception to the rule. The attrition rate will win this one, I think, the way things are going. Go for it, Sinka.
Here's some news from the back end, mate. 818, as a part, he's gone for his drive-through, but he's decided to do a pit stop at the same time.
Okay.
So he's come out and he's asked why isn't a black flag being cleared. It's because you can't take a pit stop during your drive-through.
Yeah, so yes, he's done the pit stop, but he then has to come and do the drive-through. And
Correct.
with that, he should still be okay to make it to the end without another stop, of course. And that's also the other question, because we've had an extended green flag run here, boys. Who's good for fuel? Who has to top up? So there's a splash and dash to come in this race. I get the feeling, but there's another sting in the tail just yet. We're inside 20 minutes to play, almost at the 3/4 mark of what's been a captivating and compelling Australian Open Wheel Nationals across SRW, FDL, and the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. More information with regards to next week for us and the start of Term 4 coming up in just a short while as well, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to that. In the meantime, look who's lurking. We've got Sean Campbell on screen at the moment. RSR by Butt Kicker, but that is an Orbit Drop Bear livery on that car at the moment. Sorry, got Orbit Drop Bear 1, 2, Summit Sim Sport 3, FDL 1, GSRC 2 and 3, and the first of the SRW Brigade, Timothy Schmallenberg in 4th, who's had an almighty run up 18 spots. Can Campbell do anything about Hilly? Let's wait and see. At what point do you put club allegiances ahead of team loyalty here in the Australian Open Wheel Nationals? The GSRC would love to continue their winning ways. And here's the other point as well, boys. We've talked about having Australians and New Zealanders in this thing in the past. Sean Campbell could be the first American to win the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. Johnny Banak from Poland's out there in 10th as well. So it's a truly international event now. You and O'Leary's presence in the commentary box is proof of that.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, it's great to see, and I think we're seeing Sean Campbell almost improve as we go tonight. I mean, we heard before the race that he hasn't really got any experience in this car in iRacing, and he's just getting better and better as it goes on. He's very good at actually just jumping into things and being quick, actually, Sean Campbell. He's raced in some of the highest class, especially sports car events, which I think is probably his bread and butter, as it were, in iRacing. But if you put him into anything, he will adapt very, very quickly. Maybe beaten by some of the top guys in races he does if you allow everybody weeks and weeks of practice. But if you just sit him in a car and everybody else in the car, it's sort of very short before the start of the race, then he will go well, and tonight has been proof of that so far. He's getting closer and closer to the reigning FDL champion Mark Hilly and the current race leader with just over 15 to go.
Is this race going to be won and lost on pit lane? Campbell not close enough to make a move at the chase that time through. Hilly keeps it straight. has led much of the night. Put 3 tenths on the field in qualifying. And here we are, almost bang on 8 laps from home should we go green the whole way. We're comfortably, 58.89 for Sean Campbell, the fastest lap of the race. Thank you very much.
Nothing like a great tow down that mountain, is it?
Nothing beats it. Nothing better. We're making our way up Mountain Straight again, and you just get the feeling, and we've seen this before, Josh Suno, Sean Campbell could pull off an Adam Laver, Sam Chapman-esque sort of trick here. Use a little bit of fuel saving to his advantage, and pip his teammate, albeit not tonight, when you're looking at it from a club team's perspective, Mark Hilly on pit road. That pit lane sequence is going to be compelling viewing.
Yeah, I'm going to choose not to say here. I don't want to put the bloody mocker on anyone. But yeah, no, there's been a few unfortunate incidents. There was a net code that took out Dan Yeaman, I've just been told. He was more than a couple of tyre widths away from a car that was parked up at cutting, and he got yeeted into pit lane. So there's just across the board, there's been a whole heap of stories that, you know, people have just had a lot of bad luck tonight.
Yeah. And finally, a guy that's due some good luck in this race, Jackson Ray Hunter. He's 3 seconds off these guys at the moment, but he's well positioned, especially if we get a late safety car in the mix here. He would all of a sudden be there. And it's just nice. I mean, even if he doesn't get the win, even if he just finishes on the podium, boys, it's nice to see him finally having some luck in the Australian Open World Nationals. To the chase we go again, and Campbell again content to just sit there and let Mark Hilly pull him along. The question is, at what point do you change tact here and throw that game plan out the window? Back to the main straight, lap 19 in the books, 14 minutes on the clock. Go for it, Ewan.
Yeah, it's going to be, if we continue on like this, 8 laps to go. We're just about going to squeeze another lap in because of the pace of the race. So 8 to go still, it looks like, if we run interrupted between now and the finish. At the moment, I don't really see Campbell as sort of backing away from Mark Hilly. And crash at the chase! Oh, my word!
That's sideways and gone.
Jackson Dial! So
who was the victim to that?
Jackson Dial, and he's parked in the chase, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to get it out of there. And you know that, man? There goes your 8 laps. We won't get 9. We weren't going to get 9 anyway. Well, sorry, we weren't going to get 8 anyway, but we're always going to go 7 because we had. There goes the wheel. Gone. See you later. Goodbye. Jacko Dial's night is done. I don't think he'll be driving that one out of. Actually, no. Or I might have spoken too soon. He has been able to get it out of there. There you go. So we'll stay green. But the problem is, the only protest I'm going to lodge in the direction of Ewan with regards to the amount of laps here is you need to take in that pit lane transit into account. And I think that's what might deny us, as much as I'd like to see it, that extra lap you're talking about.
Yeah, you might be right. I hadn't factored that in, to be honest, because we have been running for so long without those pit stops. I mean, last pit stops that were made by the top guys, excuse me, the top guys were approaching on 14 laps ago, very long time ago. I wonder whether we've had enough safety car to allow them to get to the end of this race, or whether they indeed all will be coming in a moment. And in that case, it's sort of Brodie McConkey and Douglas Garens and people like that who are going to be up towards the front.
So Harrison Lurlas has been limping back to pits, and he was getting in the way, so he was asked to tow. So he's towed. So he's one of the fastest boys out there, but now he's in the pit. Just goes to show that you've got to keep your nose clean on this sort of track.
Oh, okay. Oh, Harrison Lewis, trouble down Conrod. Is he pulling up? Is he not able to continue on?
Yep.
Oh, no. Now,
has he run out of fuel? What's going on there?
No. He's
Damage.
He's been given permission to get the tow and gone straight to pit lane, and therefore they'll keep this race green. I don't know why they would grant him permission to go straight to pit lane when normally that would require a request for a tow and then a safety car.
I do believe that means no more safety cars for the last 12 minutes of the race. The protocol does take up a lot of time, so I believe they've made a call. Just, no more safety cars. So pretty tight, I'd say, from here.
Ride your own luck now, essentially. And that does Harrison Lewis absolutely no favours whatsoever. because even if he was likely to get back into the race, any hope he had of being a contender now has evaporated. He was the one actually hoping for the safety car. He almost was the cause of it because he had the pace there, boys. Had he been, had he been able, I'll finish the point, had he been able to get a safety car, get back on the lead lap, he would have been a genuine threat at a top 10 finish. And look who's just punched out the fastest lap of the race. Jackson Ray hard on a 158.417, if you don't mind. And what about this for a little bit of slick work from Cameron Dance?
Dear me. It looked closer off board, I've got to be honest. It looked quite in hand, actually, when we ride on board there. But, God, that was close going into the cutting that time round for Cam Dance to get down the inside and up into 8th place as it stands. But, yeah, Rihanna going quicker again in 3rd. I wonder whether we are going to get 3 for the lead pretty soon.
Quite possibly. It's 2.1 at the moment, but the question is, do they need to stop? Do they need to come to pit lane? This is the 15th, the end of the 15th lap of their run. How much further can they go? Or is there going to be a splash and dash in the last 10 minutes of the car race? To the chase we go again. Johnny Bannock in the top 10 at the moment. Trying to get down. Whoa! Does get down on the inside of Thomas Sinner and goes up into 9th place. Very nicely done. So, Sean Campbell, Jackson Rayhana, Cameron Dance, and Johnny Bannock, the 4 GSRC representatives vying for points in the top 10, and Sam Chapman, the one that isn't, but he's won the battle of the former champions, Josh Zuno, with Jack O'Donnell running into trouble for a second time.
Yeah, no, very unfortunate for Jacko. He's often caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's definitely the case that's happened there. Obviously, going into the chase, but I might take this opportunity. How are this teams championship going? Have we got that one?
Let's have another look if we can. That would have updated in the last short while. Have a look at that. The GSR is still holding it, but the margin is thinning. And thinning rather nicely. 296, 231, 278. It's spicy with only, what have we got now? 9 minutes to go.
You've got to look, though, at the points they might be able to gain by winning this race. I mean, if Campbell and Rihanna get ahead of Mark Hilly, then GSRC will be well over 300 points, and you'd say probably an unassailable lead, given the position that the other 2 clubs are in at the moment.
And if Campbell and Rayhana can get ahead of Hilly, it'll be 5 on the trot for the GSRC. And they added a 3rd league. They've brought out all stops to try and break the stranglehold that the club has on this event. They may do it through Mark Hilly, but I'm sure Sean Campbell will have something to say about that with 8.25 minutes to go here on the platforms of SRW and the GSRC, also FTL. Good to have you along. This is Wednesday Night Motorsport, our special edition, 5th running of the MOZA Racing Australian Open World Nationals from the Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst, New South Wales. Down Conrad we go again. Plenty still to talk about here. There are 21 cars still on the lead. Sorry, no, 20 cars still on the lead lap. That is about to be 19 because Travis has a party due to go a lap down. Timothy Schmallenberg's just answered my question. He's on pit road now. Schmallenberg's on pit road now. So there will be more of this pit lane activity in the final 8 minutes.
Yep, so just checking back, unless they've done some major fuel saving. The last time Timothy came into the pits was lap 7, which is the same as the leaders. So Mark, Sean and Jax all came in lap 7.
We could see a major shake-up here, and we've seen this historically in this event, that in the last 10 minutes, it's not always the person leading in the last 10 minutes that wins this damn thing either. I believe that Chapo won it with someone running out of fuel. Was it last season or the season before?
Yeah. At the Portimao circuit, Algarve, Portugal. He won. He led for about 0.3 of a second of the hour. And it was the 0.3 that counted. He launched over the top of Marcus Watson, who was another club convert, by the way, on the run to the finishing line. He led for about 3 metres. And that was all he needed to do to see the checkered flag first and grab the win. Much to the dismay of Marcus Watson, who was on track for back-to-back at that point. Chapo's a 2-time champion, but not back-to-back. He won the 1st and the 4th. He's not going to win the 5th unless something catastrophic happens up front. And the top 5 end up wiped out. The puddles are still catching you and off guard. Jackson Rayhana, 1.8 seconds behind Sean Campbell. Sean Campbell 4/10 away from Mark Hilly. We've got a real race on our hands here. And Tom Donohue's trying to get by Johnny Bannock for 8th as they head to Conrod Straight once more. are there pit stops coming up? How has Craig Edwards managed to get 20 laps out of the fuel tank? He's been out there since lap 3 on this run. It's
how many
extraordinary.
laps of racing have we had out of those 20?
Well, we've had a bit more than we probably should have, by rights.
Speaking of Marcus Watson, he was going to be competing tonight, but he's actually representing Australia in India at the moment in a e-sport event. So good luck to him out there, and hopefully he does really well.
Good luck to him indeed, going gangbusters. Now there's Tom Donahue. Tom Donahue pulls the trigger and says, I need a little bit of juice. I need a top up to get to the checkered flag. Tom Donahue might just be the catalyst here. Have a look at the puddles down pit lane too, by the way. Jeez.
Yeah, entry into it is shocking. Everyone struggled.
Memo to Bathurst City Council, Bathurst Regional Council. Maybe some drainage work around Mount Panorama wouldn't go astray. And then iRacing can come back and rescan it and update it accordingly.
Dan, can I ask a quick favour? Can you please bring up the pit transit times? I want to see something. Can Chapo pull a blinder and do his masterful fuel strategies? So, no, that's the answer right there. Not again.
Again.
Yeah, those deltas are pushing out a little bit there for Chapo, but
they are. Sean Campbell's now 0.7 of a second away from Mark Hilly. So Mark Hilly is there with a stranglehold on first position, and it would be converting pole into the race win. And I think it would be the first time that has happened. There is Sean Campbell under pressure hit from lap traffic for some reason.
I think he's just lapped that car. Put it behind him. But you know, he's lost multiple tenths of a second now to Mark Hilly, they're all staying out again. So if they do stay out, it would be 3 laps to go as it stands right now. And considering that Craig Edwards has been able to get to this stage by pitting 3 laps before them, Sinner has also been able to go from lap 2 until this point. I think these guys are going to be okay.
And if they can get to lap 27, and Jackson Rayhana fastest lap of the race again, 158.286. Rayhana is flying, and he's got the toe up Mountain Straight as well. He'll get by the lap traffic there, and he'll have a real shot at trying to go with Sean Campbell in the closing stages here, who has now dropped to outside of a second behind Mark Hilly. Hilly has bolted 1.1 to the good. All of a sudden, it's not looking so good for the GSRC anymore. Hilly leads. Campbell and Rayhana to duke it out for second. 158.286 for Rayhana. Oh, careful, Jacko, up around the outside of lap traffic there. I think it might have been... let me work out who that might have been. Proctor, thank you. Andrew Proctor. I've got an Adam Proctor in the GSRC. You've got an Andrew Proctor in FTL. And up to the top of the hill. Now we've got lap traffic duking it out. My goodness. Have a look at this. Across the top we go, avoiding those puddles like the plague. And if we get to 27, I think we'd all consider that a win, considering how the night started. To get 27 laps of racing, I don't think any of us would have had our bingo cards on that number.
Absolutely clutch that Mark Hilly got past Proctor there. He passed him up Mountain Straight, and that's why you can see that delta's blown out for Sean, but he is slowly clawing that time back. Look at that, he's punched 3 tenths off heading down the mountain.
And Travis has a party wants to weigh into this as well. So you got all the boys that are a lap down, duking it out for the minor placings, precious points for their respective clubs in the fight for bragging rights. The GSRC might still win the team's points race, but they might be... Oh, no! Oh, no. Oh, thank goodness. I was having I had a scare there because Mark Hilly blinked for a moment and disappeared to second, and Sean Campbell was about to take the lead. No, not yet. 1 second the advantage. Can Campbell find a second in the final 2 laps here at Mount Panorama? And it is going to be 2 now because they've gone back to the line. They haven't seen the white flag. So even if they have to stop next time by, they will go round again. We will go into overtime, ladies and gentlemen. You and O'Leary, you've arrived at a good night. We get to do overtime around Mount Panorama. There's another take at a pit lane.
Yeah, it's very, very situational, isn't it? compared to what driver we're looking at, that it depends on whether they have to come into pit lane or not after the most recent pit stops. Very unusual. Daniel Byrne, that was, who's a lap down at the moment and outside the top 20, unfortunately for FDL, after getting caught up in a couple of incidents here tonight. But the key for Campbell really is about getting into the slipstream for Conrod Straight. I think he's got to have a very good trip over the top this time round so he can get that slipstream on the way back towards the start finish line again, and then he might have a chance on the last lap, but he's not going to do anything from 1 second back.
No, and as good as Campbell is, I'm not sure he can find a second. It would take a mistake from Hilly. You wouldn't wish that on him. He's driven too well tonight. We've got a lap and a half to go. Can Campbell find something in the run to the line to upstage Mark Hilly on the final lap? How is he for fuel? How are they both for fuel? It's extraordinary to think that we've gone 20 laps now without so much as any interest in going to pit road. And now we are about 7 kilometres away from crowning our 5th Australian Open World Nationals champion, or actually a 4th, because Chabo's got 2 of the bloody things. Through we go. 1 lap to go. They're both going for it. There doesn't seem to much in the way of fuel saving here, boys, so they would probably both suspect that they're okay at this point. White flag flies at Mount Panorama.
As Wallenberg drops down the field, Jackson Riano is dropping down a long way off these two. 6 seconds suddenly. He's gone over the line, but that was a 2:02. He won't be a factor here. It's going to be between Hilly and Campbell for the race victory.
Yep. Chabo's gone to 5th, but Suzuka's has had an incident with him going into the chase. Craig Edwards has had to come to pit lane as well, so that's an FDL runner out of contention. It matters very little when you're leading the thing. With Mark Hilly, you only need 1 in the race to be crowned as the champion here. Campbell and Ray Hahn are a 2nd and 3rd. Chapo's gone to 4th. Oh, trouble at the cutting. Trouble at the cutting. And Mark Hilly has bolted to 1.2 seconds clear. So this is Hilly's to lose. And this is therefore Ewan O'Leary's to bring home to the checkered flag. GSRC members running 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment, and Johnny back in 9th as well. There are 2 SRW runners in the top 10, 3 FDL, but they've arrived. And on the first night out, Sinka, they've waited until the 5th Australian Open World Nationals to arrive, and the club's going to go away with bragging rights before SRW has even got their hands on an outright winner's trophy.
No comment.
Ewan O'Leary, take us home, my friend. Arrive and drive, and Mark Hilly's been phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's been improving throughout 2025 massively. Finished 8th place in our 2nd season of 2025. Wasn't really a factor for the title before taking home the title last season. Took the championship lead after the 2nd round and took it home from there. Didn't have a good round at Bathurst, but he's going to win here tonight. A great bit of driving from him to hold on from Sean Campbell by just over a second to win the Australian Open World Nationals.
And you can only stop and applaud that, ladies and gentlemen. What a phenomenal drive that was. Pole to race win in amongst all the challenges, obstacles, safety cars, strategies, etc., etc. And he's done a 21-lap stint to get home, Steve Sinka. You got to take your hat off to that.
Oh, he's done an exceptional job, mate. He's done an absolute ripper to come in and do that straight off the bat is amazing.
Craig Edwards has got by Sinka's on the run to the chase for the final time. Can he hold on to 6th here? Has Suzuka's got anything left to offer up? Suzuka's is going to be the best place to the SRW brigade. Edwards is going to get 6th. Nice recovery, and that was with a 2nd pit stop on the penultimate lap of the race. Edwards has still managed to finish 6th. Phenomenal stuff.
Cracking effort there.
Their way home. Hey, look at this. 29 positions gained for both Cameron Dance and Johnny Bannock. Phenomenal from both of those GSRC representatives.
Good Suzuki's has done an exceptional job. He's our one of our champions in our 86s, so not even the car that he's actually done really well in. But young fella, absolutely exceptional job. And Thomas Cena, another one of our young guns coming through as well, has got himself into the top 10. So congratulations to those boys. Look at the old farts. Mr. Dougie Gowan's in 12th.
We've gone a little over 100 miles here, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you in imperial parts of the world, and for those of you in metric parts of the world. 6.213 by 27 gives you 167.751 kilometres. And Hilly was phenomenal for the bulk of it. Sean Campbell, unlucky. Lap traffic obviously walked him towards the end there. I had my money on him at the start of the night. I thought if it wasn't going to be Ray Hunter, it was going to be Campbell. And they were both on the podium, so it's good to see that I can read the form guide. Mark Hilly tried to do a celebratory burnout and smash the car. So there won't be any celebrations from him, which is unfortunate. That was Alex Stevens coming undone under the checkered flag as well. Phenomenal drive from Sam Chapman from 12th up to 4th. Cameron Dance from 34th to 5th. Johnny Bannock from 37th up to 8th. To stay out of the trouble the way those two guys have done and end up in the top 10, they could be classed as drives of the night, but they won't be the driver of the night because that'll be Mark Hilly. To lead this thing from the outset and pretty much all the way through takes a phenomenal amount of effort and skill, considering the calibre of driver and company that come to the table to contest these events. And I mean, look at the attrition rate. At the end of the day, only 16 cars home on the lead lap. If we go over the page there, Daniel Carreso, I'll get you to come back to the main page in just a moment. The tail of the walking wounded. Just have a look at this. So, I mean, Rebellion was a lap down, Verney was a lap down, but Heaney was 2 laps down. Scott Barcham was 2 laps down, 3 laps down, I should say. Bondi only got home 4 laps down. To get classified tonight, you would have had to have completed, ladies and gentlemen, let's just minus 75% from that. 6.75, so you would have had to have completed at least 21 laps to be classified this evening. And therefore, everybody down to Craig Bond has been classified, but Tyler Sheep, Jackson Dial, Harrison Lewis, Derek Yeaman, Nick Schmallenberg, Matt Tesoria, Giuliano Senese, Scott Pocock, Tristan McLaren, Greg Barber. I'm at the double digits now. Dylan DeBono, Angus Milne, Thomas Hins, Eduardo Zamora and Matt Schmitkin. 15 cars did not get classified this evening, which will have an impact on the way the club bragging rights plays out. We'll bring you those points shortly. The safety car actually placed higher than 2 GSRC representatives in 39th. That's a credible finish for Stephanie. In fact, I thought she was going to place higher than that because the way the thing started, it looked as though it was going to be not dissimilar to a NASCAR oval race on the platform for the GSRC, and that would be that the safety car featured quite prominently. It didn't end up being so.
One of the most outstanding drivers out of SRW tonight, Steph Piccoli.
Sinka, obvious disappointment there, but I mean, Denny falling crook before the thing got underway doesn't help you guys. But then obviously that was a lottery out there tonight in every sense of the word. Just to get to the finish, you got to take your hat off to the 20 odd that were able to be classified this evening, because there's a lot that'll be ruined what might have been. But the weather conditions and the track service certainly didn't help them.
Oh, guaranteed, mate. Look, at the end of the day, the real winner is the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. They have the fastest guys in the country out here. Gives me a bit of a proud dad moment. It's amazing what we've seen other forms of racing competing with each other, the V8 supercars and stuff like that. But we came together as a group, and we're achieving something really special. And I think something that's going to go on for a lot longer than what we will be around, that's for sure, because I think the Australian Open Wheel National is going to become a cornerstone of the open wheel challenges out there year on year.
You and your first look at the Australian Open Wheel Nationals, mate. What'd you make of it?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Conditions so difficult tonight at Bathurst with the rain, but we always knew that was going to be the case because it was just never ever going to dry when it rained in practice. From when it rained in practice right to the very end. But aside from that, it would have been a great race either way. Good that we got an FDL driver to win, I must say. But it wasn't to be overall. Congratulations to Mark Hilly though for the race win.
Yeah, absolutely, congrats to him. We'll hear from him very shortly. We've got Benny Woods jumping in as well. I think he must have been down in race control for us as well, so we'll hear from him very shortly. Mark Hilly from Orbit Drop Bear, the winner. Orbit Drop Bear in second through Sean Campbell. Summit Sim Sport in third through Jackson Rayhana, and Rayhana's the first one to grace us with his presence here in the booth. We'll get to him in just a moment. You and I like what you where you're going there, mate, and what you're laying down, because to be fair, to rock up here, to go up against two clubs, to be the new kid on the block, and to walk away with the chocolates, you might not get the overall team bragging rights in terms of the cumulative point score from all the drivers, but I'll tell you what, we don't remember that. We remember the driver that crosses the line and takes the checkered flag first, like any great race around Mount Panorama. So in saying all of that, congratulations to Mark Hilly. Orbit Drop Bear tremendously proud of the fact that they've got two on the podium there, no doubt. But the guy that I had my money on until I saw Sean Campbell arrive on scene was Jackson Rayhana, and he's here alongside us now. And can I just say, okay, yeah, it's slightly disappointing that you didn't get the top prize, mate, and bring the thing home to solidify what's been a good purple patch for you in open wheel racing at the moment. But to walk in here at Mount Panorama in those dicey conditions and to finally ride a little bit of bloody luck at an Australian Open World Nationals, you must be chuffed with third. Although he's muted at the moment, so I haven't got Jackson in my ear at the moment. He needs to unmute himself, or maybe that's actually an admin thing, because we're in a different server to normal. So I need to sort that out from Jackson Rayhana. In the meantime, Mark Hilly's here as well, and he's muted too, so I'm not sure what's going on. You gentlemen, if you can't unmute yourselves, that might be an admin thing. So, Sinka, that might be your territory, please. In the meantime, we'll continue on, because I definitely want to have a chat to Jackson Rayhana. At the same time, you and O'Leary definitely wants to have a chat to Mark Hilly. And Josh Suno's here as well. Josh, difficult night for the guys in race control. Difficult night for a lot of contenders here, because the mountain, I mean, whoever said it in the lead up picked it and was proven correct, that we could have gone for a safe option, but we chose chaos, and what's more, we threw weather into the mix, so it was chaos personified. But at the end of the day, Mark Hilly is also a member of the GSRC, so it's an honorary win for us, but it does go in the record books to FDL.
I see what you did there, Zach, but no, FDL, he is representing FDL tonight. And you know, the wet weather, I think we were just getting it out of the way, so when I rock up in a week and a half, I don't have to wear my gumboots. So I appreciate that, but now we'll pass
you
the
wouldn't be
mark
able to
there.
put gumboots on at the moment, would you?
No, we won't talk about that. The roof won the battle. I'm going to win the war, though.
Correct. Oh dear. More from you in just a moment. If we can work out what's going on with these two gentlemen here and why we can't unmute them, so that we can have a chat with them, Jackson Rayhana and Mark Hilly.
I think they've muted themselves at their end, because I've got, at my end, it's they're open, they're not muted.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. Gentlemen, if you can unmute yourselves, can you do so? Just so I can see who's in here and available to have a chat. They should be able to hear us, surely.
I have just changed their privileges again to their broadcast channel, so they definitely have
Both the broadcast privileges, so they both should be able to go in.
All right. Just hang with us tight, ladies and gentlemen. It is a tech issue beyond our control, but at least we've had a smoother run through the race itself than what we did last time out. You and O'Leary on that subject. You were talking earlier, and Josh and I will do the same about the GSRC in a moment, and I'm sure Sinka will do the same about what's coming up for SRW. But a new season of FDL just around the corner. What's in store for us?
Yeah, new season start 2 weeks yesterday on Tuesday nights. So same racing returning effectively from previous seasons. But if you've not seen series before. We've moved to a format recently of half of the races in one format and half in another. So some nights we have races a bit like this, really. Our finale, for example, last season was a 60-minute race, almost exactly like this one. Normally we have 45-minute races per evening, but a very similar format to this. And in recent times we have moved to a two-race format through some of the nights as well. I think that's returning, the sprint format. So one 15-minute race, one half-an-hour race in an evening as well. It's 8 rounds over the course of October and November to bring us to the end of the new year, or end of 2025, and yeah, very much looking forward to the new season. It's always a lot of fun. We've had 3 seasons so far in 2025. All of them have come down to a final race decider, and on 2 of the occasions out of the 3, the championship leader has not been able to hold on to the lead through the final race. So it's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm sure that the final FDL season is going to be a lot of fun as well, starting in 13 days' time.
And make sure you tune in on their respective broadcasting platforms, ladies and gentlemen, to catch all of that. Sinka, we'll get an SRW preview of what's in store for you guys in just a few moments. But thank Christ, ladies and gentlemen, we've restored the lines of communication to both Jackson Rayhana and Mark Hilly. They are now here in the commentary box with us. And hopefully, where's the American assassin, Sean Campbell? I'm not sure. He might be an honourable absentee, considering what time of the morning it is over there. So we've got first and third, regardless, ladies and gentlemen, a member from each of the clubs that were represented on the outright podium tonight. Sorry, Sinka. And of course, we'll hear from them in just a tick. But stay with us, because we'll preview the SRW action coming up. We'll preview the GSRC action coming up as well. So looking forward to that immensely. Jackson Rayhana, now that we've got the lines of communication restored, finally a bit of luck in an Australian Open World Nationals for you, mate. 3rd place, well done.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's good. Would have liked 2 more places, obviously. These winner-takes-all events are cool. I wish we had more of them in Australian sim racing, but yeah, it's cool. If it was a championship, it would be like, oh, cool, I took 3rd, heaps and heaps of points, nice. Where in these, it's like, you just wish you're on the top step, because that's what, as a driver, that's what matters. But all credit to Mark and Sean as well. They were all class last night. I had to throw pretty much everything I had at them, and we underfueled the car by a litre in the end, so I had to really back it off in that last last couple of laps. But yeah, I really had to throw everything I had at them. I was starting to make a little bit of headway when the traffic got involved, but unfortunately just wasn't enough, and wouldn't really have amounted to much, considering we didn't have the fuel to do it anyway.
To be fair, we were actually surprised that you went to pit lane twice, but that ended up being the right way to go about it under both safety cars, mate. Unfortunate that you weren't able to push all the way to the end there, but to be fair, we were probably all banking on a 3rd safety car the way things had started.
Yeah, that's what we were kind of banking on too. Like, we were going safe if there was another safety car, and as you can see, we were right on the limit if there wasn't. But we were banking on just one more. I think there should have been one with about 13 minutes to go. There was a car stopped on the Conrod Straight. But,
correct. Yes.
We thought that was a bit funny, but yeah, either way, it was all class from the guys at front. Like, they were just too good, too quick. You're not good enough on the night when you need stuff to go your way, and yeah, they were too good.
Indeed. Stay with me, mate. Coming back to you in a moment. Sean Campbell has graced us with his presence, ladies and gentlemen. What time of the morning is it in your neck of the...
7:30.
Oh, geez. So you're on the east coast of the United States, chiming in there. So we've got one having breakfast. We've got bloody you and O'Leary having lunch, and the rest of us about to have supper, ladies and gentlemen. The joys of sim racing, bringing the world together. Stay with us, Sean. Getting you in a moment. Jackson, continuing with you. As I said, it's been a bit of a purple patch of form for you in open wheel cars of late. We know how much you love these things. Just talk me through the challenges associated with contending with the same weather conditions as everybody else out there tonight, because that, even though it was a dry afternoon, it was a dicey racetrack, giving off vibes of Great Race 2022 territory, if you know where I'm going. But secondly, reacquainting yourself with the SFL machine, considering that we've been in the big boy Super Formula this term on the platforms of the GSRC just gone. It's been a while between drinks in this car.
Yeah, it feels, to answer your second question first, yeah, it feels like I'm back home sort of thing in this car. But, you know, in saying that, I did do the FDL series and had a very, very close title fight with Mark. Came down to the last race of the season, which was really cool. So it's not like I haven't driven it in a while, like I've been driving it still. But yeah, I definitely, if I had a preference, I'd probably say, to be honest, I can't really pick either one because they're both so different. But either way, the introduction of the new Indy Next could be interesting. We'll see how that goes next season in all the open wheeler leagues involved. And answer your first question, yeah, it felt like I was playing a video game a little bit. Game of what's the one? Frogger, maybe? I don't know. Feels like you were dodging just all the puddles everywhere, and there were just random puddles in really random spots. A lot of apexes were missed tonight because there was so much water all over them.
Indeed, that was the case, which made the degree of difficulty even more so. We knew it was going to be a challenge coming to Mount Panorama for this event, but when you have parts of the circuit that you could get away with overtaking or being 2x2, all of a sudden becoming a one-line groove, you had to be very calculated in the way you went about things. The other thing as well, mate, I guess, to be at the pointy end at the very start, that was a blinder of a start from you, and you put yourself in the best possible position to stay out of the trouble. You probably got lucky as well in the first safety car, if you don't mind me saying so, mate, in the sense that the pack behind you backed up and you were able to come out still inside the top 10.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I pitted, because I knew, well, we're going to put 10, 11 litres more fuel in the car, and then, you know, we'll at least we'll get a jump. We'll get a good delta on the next stop. Weren't banking on the safety cars, the two safety cars that we had being so close to each other. Would have liked probably another 3 or 4 laps just to get some track position back, because I knew if we had the track position back, we'd see a much bigger gain on the pit stop when we were all filling it up. But either way, we had to do something. I knew Mark was going to be very, very quick and very tough to chase down just based on his start. Like he'd already pulled so much time on the leaders. So yeah, I was thinking I was in for a tough night from then on. Had to try something different. Didn't end up working in the end, but yeah, you don't die wondering, is what I say.
Absolutely not. Stay with me, mate. Coming back to you shortly, but before I actually move on to Sean Campbell, I just want to go to Sinka and you and O'Leary and make sure that you guys, whether you've got a question for Jackson Rayhana or not, or have I covered everything off. If you've got a question for him, now's the time to throw it.
No, look, I think you've covered all bases, mate. It's a big congratulations to all the lads. Jackson, it's good to see you finally get the cherries at the end. You've had a lot of bad luck in these events so far, so congratulations on that, mate.
Jackson's had PTSD. He's had that much bad luck in the Australian Open World Nationals. Poor bloke.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, hopefully we can go 2 better next time.
Exactly right. I like the approach. I like the attitude. Very nicely done. You want anything for Jackson?
No extra questions. Just yeah, congratulations as well from me on a podium tonight.
Thanks, mate. A bit different to the Formula Ford.
Yeah. Have a look at this carnage here. It was just a showroom of cars that had been wrecked, ladies and gentlemen. It was just a parking lot in the middle of a racetrack. That was what triggered the second safety car, of course. Jackson, stay with me, coming back to you in a minute. Let's move on here, because Ewan's going to have a chat to Mark Hilly in just a moment, but not before I bring in Mr. Sean Campbell. And it's nice to actually get a chance to have a chat to him post-race, because normally he just slides out the back door very discreetly. But they're not allowed to tonight because he's on the podium. And mate, to be honest, congratulations, well played. Not in the least bit surprised to see you do that, because we've seen you attack a Chev supercar around here. We've seen you clean up in NASCARs. With just about anything you jump behind the wheel of, we know you're an ominous threat. And of course, GT3 as well, although you kind of went MIA from that series, and Harrison Lewis came through and said, thanks very much, I'll clean up the pieces. Last chat with the platforms, the GSRC, mate. But talk me through the process of learning a car same day as the event, please?
I don't know. It's just use the experience of every other car you've driven, basically, right? I've driven at this point so many things in so many different settings. You can kind of just be like, oh, this drives like this and this and this. So you can put the pieces together really quick. And yeah, that's great. The only thing I didn't get was the start. I did not realize you could just dump it. I was like trying to clutch slip and everything. You could just dump it.
Yeah, that was my next question, actually. We weren't sure what had gone on there because you lost 2 spots, and Jackson Rayhana was saying thanks very much.
Yeah, I was unaware you could just dump the clutch, which I figured out right at the end when Mark tried to do burnouts and the car just went dead forward.
Well, I was going to say, it's good, nice to see that your teammate wasn't offering up any sort of intel there, purely putting club teammate allegiances to one side and club allegiances to the fore this evening. No help from Mark Hilly, and quite rightly so in his regard. He had a job to do for FDL and did it beautifully. However, geez, you gave him one hell of a fight. You pushed him every step of the way. How close were you to being in a position to potentially put one down the inside and make a move, mate?
I'll be honest, I don't think I was going to overtake him. I probably would have gotten close. There were a couple times where I was close enough to have a go, but I didn't want to wreck him, basically. He out-qualified me, etc.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like win it or bin it, Sean. It's club bragging rights are on the line, mate. We were riding you home, but it wasn't to be. However, second on your debut in the Australian Open World Nationals is a magnificent achievement. I was absolutely mesmerised by what you're saying about how you just take to these cars like a duck to water, essentially. Apart from not knowing that you can just dump it and go, what are your initial impressions of the SFL and the few hours that you've acquainted yourself with it?
It's really nice. I think if I was in Australia and the netcode was a little better, the racing would be insane. Like the door, like I say door to door, there's no door, but the side by side would be really, really good. Because it's like you can almost run away. It's not like the Dallara F3 where the draft is like a second and a half back and you can't run away. If you're really fast, you can run away. But if 2 people are the same pace, you can get into a really good battle with it. And there's tons of traction as well, so you can go side by side just about everywhere.
Now, the other thing as well, we had a couple of people chiming in. I haven't had a chance to look at our YouTube and social threads and everything else, but to everyone that's dropped lines of communication and feedback with regards to enjoying the coverage, good evening to you. We're glad that you were able to make us part of your Wednesday in any way, shape or form, whether it's morning, afternoon or night. Thanks very much for supporting the 5th running of the Australian Open World Nationals. Going back to you, Sean, I mean, you mentioned obviously that lag you get from being right over there on the other side of the world. It gets worse in a couple of weeks because you're going to be, by the start of November, you're going to be 16 hours behind Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And that's where we're heading, of course, in a couple of weeks here. So the start's going to be earlier if you want to get on the grid to the platforms, the GSRC. What does that do to your body clock, the fact that you're running in all these different leagues around the world at ungodly hours of the morning? In this instance, I mean, I'm glad you're a morning person because I'm sure it's all not.
It's sometimes a problem. Like today, it's not a problem. Wednesday, not a problem. But it's the reason I had to stop doing GT3 was because of school. Like, school's a 40-minute drive, and GT3 would be ending 30 minutes after school starts.
Right, hang on. Type of school are we? Which age range are we talking about here, please?
Oh, like university. I think you.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, college, university. Yeah, no, I was going to say, hang on, are we being schooled by a school kid? No, a university, college educated senior. Very nicely done. Okay, that makes much more sense now. I mean, obviously, in a couple of weeks' time, when we get to November, we'll probably see you on the GT3 grid again because your drive will be after we're done rather than during the race. So maybe that clock going back in your part of the world in 14 hours might actually be of service to you. But then again, it's somewhere in there you've probably got to sleep as well.
Yeah,
in amongst all your studies and obviously juggling your sim racing commitments as well, mate, it's not lost on us that you've also now jumped into the Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport stable. So, A, how do you juggle your sim racing commitments in amongst your college? And B, how are you enjoying working with the boys from Orbit Drop Bear?
It's good. Mutual partnership, basically, because I need to race, or I crave racing even at like midnight, right? Just so happens that all the racing in Aussie takes place at midnight for me. And I've known these guys for a really long time. That's the other thing, since like 2021 and stuff. So it's good to come back, see everybody again.
Yeah, and it's good to have you back too, mate. I mean, so obviously you're teaming up with those guys for officials and majors and enduros and all that sort of stuff. But still, obviously, on our timing list at least, you're still registered as RSR by butt kicker. So are you still committed there as well?
I need to change that. RSR stopped being a team in 2022.
Okay, well, that's good to know that we're only... Well, mate, I live in a part of the world that during the summer months we don't observe daylight saving, so we're 112 years behind. At least we're only 3 years behind on the timing data. That's good. Probably a good idea. Send that info through, and I'm sure Adam Lavis will update that for you. Actually, props to Adam. He finished 11th tonight. Had a good run, +9. Yeah. On the subject... what are you eyeing off as far as the new GSRC season is concerned, mate? Will we see you in the Toyota 86s because that's before you have to go to college?
Maybe not the 86s. I don't know. It may be. Because the MX-5 races were really, really good.
They're awesome. They're off the chart.
I heard about GT4.
On a Thursday night? Yep.
So that would be Thursday morning for me. That would be right before... I could do that. I don't have to go as early on Thursdays as I do Mondays. I could definitely do that.
And maybe
awesome
and maybe the Trans Ams on the Wednesday nights because obviously we see you occasionally make an appearance in the supercars as well.
Yeah. What's the what is the Trans Ams?
Do you know, is it the late model?
Oh, if it's the late model, I remember back in 2021, small tangent, I did a league with the super late model on road courses, and that was one of the best things that ever happened. Until people stop turning up for it. But it's really good. As long as you get the commitment for the late model or super late model on road course, it is basically Trans Am.
Yep, late model stock Trans Am. Yep, you're right. And the first round's at the Red Bull Ring next Wednesday night. For our GSRC audience, I'll run you through the week one schedule in just a few moments. So good to see that we've whet the appetite there for you. We've dangled the carrot, and we'll see Sean Campbell on the grid throughout the course of 2025's fourth and final term, mate. Bad luck for some of your stable mates at Orbit Drop Bear tonight, but not the guy in front, obviously, and we'll hear from him in a moment. I didn't get some thank yous from Jackson Rayhana, but I want to, before I do, I'll get some thank yous from Sean Campbell, anyone you want to thank, and also maybe just elaborate on why you're saying GT4 is now awesome. Is it because of the overhaul and the addition of the Mustang?
Yeah, pretty much. The cars, I don't know how to describe it. They feel more racing, basically. Like, it's slower in the corners, so you keep closer together, and then faster on the straights, so it's, or more power and more slippery, right? So they're more driver's cars now than like railroading like they used to be, where you slide once and the tires done. So they should be really good for racing.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the new season of GT4. Great to have it back, and on a Thursday night as well. So GT4 into Porsche. You've got that sports car double-header vibe about that, ladies and gentlemen. More on that in just a moment, including some broadcast changes to us here on the platforms of the GSRC as well. Jackson Rayhana, I'm going to come back to you in a moment because I know that we haven't yet picked your brain about what you're going to jump behind the wheel of in the fourth term. But before I do that, Sean Campbell, you've been very good with your time, mate. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Don't worry, guys, basically. Without them, I wouldn't know, or I wouldn't have gotten into Aussie Racing League back in like 2021 or so. I wouldn't know about any of it. So, yeah, thank all of them.
Very nicely done. Great to catch up with you, mate. Very nice that you were able to give us your time. We appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Congratulations on a podium finish in your Australian Open World Nationals debut.
Thanks.
I'm not surprised either because he's just a jet. He's a weapon of an operator in anything he jumps behind the wheel of. You know, we've seen a few of them in the GSRC platforms in the past, gentlemen. I think Matty Dench, etc. He's in the same echelon, so there's no doubt about that. But I'm going to take a breath at this point in time. Coming back to Jackson Rayhana very shortly, coming back to Steve Sinka for some final thoughts very shortly as well. And I'm going to throw it over to Ewan O'Leary, because at the end of the day, it's your mate, your man, your pride and joy. FDL on top of the Australian Open World Nationals. Not the Teams Championship, coming back to that in a moment, but outright bragging rights, honours, individual spoils. Go to Mark Hilly and Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport and Team FDL, mate. Take it away, interviewing the race winner.
Thanks very much, Zach. One appearance for FDL and one overall victory as well. Mark Hilly, congratulations on that here tonight. I mean, what a race that was. Tell us about your perspective on it, because there was so much going on. Pole to victory for you, but that doesn't tell the whole story. How would you attempt to sum up that 60 minutes of racing?
That's a very good question. The second I wasn't leading, utter chaos is a good way of putting it. I saw a lot of contact, even when I was out front. So I'm very happy to have brought it home. I thank Sean Campbell for racing me in such a gentleman-like manner. And we really worked together at the end to save fuel, save pace, and bring it home. Yeah, the safety cars were interesting as well, trying to restart on slightly cold tyres, but it wasn't too sketchy.
In terms of weather, I'm sure, though, it was sketchy throughout the day. I mean, we saw so many incidents up and down the field. I'm sure you saw some incidents around you as well. But what were you expecting from the conditions at the start of tonight compared to what it actually was like, in terms of how the rain and the water just never really went away from, especially some of the apexes on this circuit?
Yeah, no, that was definitely a bit of a worry. In practice, loading up similar conditions, sometimes it was wet tyre conditions, other times it was just a couple puddles out there. So I really did know what to expect coming in here. But yeah, going from wet tyres in practice to pretty much a dry race track at this point. There were only a couple of puddles at some point that actually slowed you down. But yeah, the lapping, once you knew where the puddles were, it was really the same as any other thing. Instead of being a barrier, it was a puddle.
That's a good way of looking at it, actually, and maybe some others could have taken your advice. In terms of the previous races we've seen you do around here, just taking FDL experience from the Super Formula Lights in the past, obviously Bathurst was the race where, you know, I think some real worry about the state of the championship would have come in season 3 of 2025 and our championship in FDL. How pleased are you to sort of bounce back, if you like, only a few weeks later, to come and win against a different field of drivers, admittedly, but just a similar strength of field of drivers, and take this victory here today to sort of banish those concerns about Bathurst the last time you were here in the Super Formula Lights anyway?
Yeah, I think other people might have been a bit worried about my championship, but I wasn't. Jackson's a very good driver. Don't take that away. He's very reputable, especially in this car. So I knew he was going to be quick, but you sort of just have to believe that he'll be quicker at the end of the day.
Yeah, certainly. And to circle back to the sort of last laps of this race, yourself and Sean Campbell were just over half a second apart. Were you ever sort of hatching a plan to go on the defensive at any stage? Did you know what you were going to do? Had he caught you right up, or was your plan always to keep him at arm's length, as you ended up doing in the end?
No, that's a good question. Yeah, I sort of knew once he got within 4, maybe 5 tenths, he could really catch up, and then within a lap maybe do something. But apart from the last lap, I was pretty confident I would have been able to stick with him and get past. But luckily it didn't come to that, and we played a very nice team game to be able to save any fuel concerns we had and bring the car home.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again from me on the victory. Is there anybody you'd like to thank, shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks to Jack and Dial for waving me through. I really appreciate that mid-race. Thanks to Ben Woods for spotting me and the rest of the team. Thanks to Sean for playing such a good teammate, and shout out to Harry Lillis for he was running a good race, jumped me in the pits, and then got taken out on the restart. So yeah, that was really unlucky for me.
Zach, any questions from you?
Well, I was going to say, I was sitting here ready to put my feet up because I was hoping you were going to delve into as long of a chat as I did. Obviously not the case, but no. Hello, Sinka.
Did. Look, congratulations to all the gents on the top step. Spectacular driving. Keeping the nose clean was really important tonight, and your assessment on the track of using those puddles just as if they were walls is exactly what everyone should have been doing out there, and unfortunately not, hence some of the safety cars. But well done to all three of you. Cracking effort.
Oh, thank you, I really appreciate it.
I was going to say, I'm going to echo what Sinka said, Mark. I think that's as slick a performance as we've ever seen from a winner in an Australian Open World Nationals. There's been some very good performances, obviously, in the past, but that was one of the more dominant ones, mate, to lead from the front the way that you did. I mean, obviously, qualifying was key. To go out there and put 3/10 on the pack the way that you did, last-ditch effort in qualifying, that set things up very, very nicely. But you've also broken the pole curse attached to this event tonight, mate. So a little bit of history there, not just for you, not just for FDL, but for the event itself.
Yeah, no, it's a nice stat to break. I didn't really know about it, but yeah, it goes to show. None of those records are really permanent. So.
No. When you saw that Bathurst was the venue of choice, what was the first thought? Because, as I said earlier, the general consensus was, oh wait, carnage, here we go. And then I thought just to throw some precipitation in there for good measure was just adding insult to injury. But you ploughed your way through that very nicely and showed what's achievable when you drive to the conditions, mate.
No. I don't even know where to start with this, but yeah. I don't really know what to say. It's kind of broke the car.
He's lost for words, ladies and gentlemen, and so he should be, because you know, it's a fair achievement. It's a fair box tick tonight, and it's going to take a while, I think, to sink in. Now, let me ask you this, because obviously you've shown your prowess in an open wheeler. Looking at because obviously, as I said, allegiances were torn tonight because you were one of several drivers that had to make a choice. You went with FDL. Well, thank you later, no doubt. They'll slide a sick pack under the desk. But in saying all of that, we'll see you back on the GSRC platforms next term, no doubt. Are you eyeing off our open wheel offerings by any chance?
Yeah, 100%. Looking at everyone's offerings. I don't only like the open wheels, but of course they're probably going to be a bit more towards my preference. So yeah, gonna look at everything. I'd love to give the NXT a go, keep doing the SFL, maybe some more GT3 and hypercar and see what.
Now, let me ask all, because Sean's obviously left the room, so this is a question for Mark Killy and Jackson Rayhana only. Next Australian Open World Nationals, we've seen 2 Australian circuits, we've seen 3 European circuits. If you had your choice of one track, and one track only, remembering that the previous 5 have been Silverstone, Mugello, Algarve, Phillip Island and Bathurst. Wipe them out because we've already been there. If you had your choice, where would we go next? Starting with you, Mark.
Adelaide. Keep the carnage up.
Well, that's if Adelaide's Parkland circuit is on the server by that point. We're talking early December. There's a chance. Jackson.
I'm gonna stay in South Australia. I'm gonna say the Bend.
Well, it was on the wheel for this one. So, any complaints with regards to it not popping up this time round can be forwarded to the wheel spinner, which I'm not sure whether it was Zuno or Sinka, but just send it to both of them. They'll pass it on and correlate. Now, the other thing as well, what's the schedule look like as far as your racing schedule is concerned for the rest of the week? Now that the Open World Nationals is behind you, business as usual, but what's next in your respective schedules?
Who are we starting with?
Either one, but you jumped in first, so you have it.
All right, cool. Thanks. Study and work. So, and Apex Racing League on stupid o'clock at Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah, good luck with that. I'll be up at stupid o'clock on Saturday morning, but I'm actually going weekend. Jackson, what does your schedule look like, mate? And what whets your appetite with regards to what tickles your fancy, I should say, with regards to Term 4? Noting that there's still 2 rounds of the GT Pro Invitational Series to, work your way through as well. It's going to be a busy 10-week period starting Monday night.
Yeah, it will, mate. Obviously, back to FDL. Can't wait for that to start back up again. We've come third tonight in this. We've come second in the FDL Championship. Definitely feel like there's some unfinished business there. So we'll hopefully clean that up next season. Either way, I look forward to another battle with Mark. Should be good. Keen on GT4s next season, actually. The new Mustang I've been driving a lot and really enjoy it. So one thing I wish they did bring in was the McLaren Artura GT4 would be good. Yeah, just get a bit out of left field. GT4s is definitely something I'm eyeing off next season. I'm glad to see them back at GSRC.
Me too. Looking forward to that immensely. More on our week 1 schedule in just a few moments. Anything left? Any other questions you want to ask these two while we've still got them, boys?
No, I think we've covered everything. Just another congratulations and thank you for participating in the Australian Open World Nationals. To get the best of the best out there, it just lifts the calibre of the event, and it will just keep growing.
Absolutely, yeah. Just congrats again from me, and thanks for chatting to us at the end. Great event, and great to see you both part of it. Of course, I'll see you both, of course, in FDL hopefully this season.
Jackson Rayhana, I got one last question for you. Any chance we might see you slide out to Willowbank this weekend to check out the XL World Enduro?
To be honest, I'd forgotten it was on, but I'm not sure. No. I think V8 Scops Phillip Island weekend, I think.
Yep.
The endurance, the first round of the endurance championship. So I think it might be. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. I'm a bit like Mark. I'm caught up in study and work a lot at the moment. So it's just juggling everything around in my head. But yeah, if it's a free weekend, I definitely might come out and have a look. A few good guys I know out there having a run.
I'm out there from first thing, pretty much daybreak Friday morning till sunset Sunday night. So it'll be a very big weekend, and looking forward to it eventually. More on that in just a moment as well, because I know there'll be a few people wanting to steer their eyeballs in that direction. Boys, we'll let you go. You've been very good with your time as always. Appreciate that. Thank you. And good luck with the new campaign, starting, of course, for the GSRC, of course, this next Monday night. Mark Hilly, congratulations. Jackson Rayhana, well done, boys. Thanks for your time.
Much appreciated. Obviously, very grateful to be able to put our performances on display to the world through you guys. So much appreciated on our side as well.
Just arrived, waltz in here, rock and roll style, newcomer into the big dance, mate, and clean up. And one of only 2 in the top 10 for the club. So well done. And to Craig Edwards as well. But FDL definitely a force to be reckoned with. Results didn't necessarily go the way of a couple of others tonight. Again, it was a night of attrition and drama. Right place, right time, and you fly the flag for them and do so very proudly, mate. So well done on that. Enjoy the rest of your week, boys.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
From Jackson Rayhana and Mark Hilly to wrapping this baby up, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Josh Zuno here, we've got Steve Sinka, and also Ewan O'Leary. Dan Correa-Sar in our producer's chair as well this evening. He did put them up on screen a few moments ago. We didn't really run through them, but can we just have a look again and remind everybody that the GSRC boys cleaned up the club championship once more with 292 points. So we've got the consolation prize tonight, Josh Zuno, and by a good margin. FDL in for second for 251, and Sinkers. Is that now? Is that the? I'm pretty sure you said at the top of the broadcast the Panthers still on. I think they've just been lost too.
Josh, are we sacking this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to. Is it raining down in Melbourne, Sinker, or are we just hearing your voice through the tears?
That's just the tears, mate. They're just my tears, mate. Look, I want to give out a massive thank you to the unsung heroes that we have that go with all this work. You know, the boys in the background don't get enough praise, and they've been doing an absolute cracking job. If I do miss someone else, Josh, please let me know. Like Adam Maverick, Barb's with the rules and everything like that. Dougie Gowans, Hutto, doing a crazy amount of admin and making sure we tick all the boxes. I know Josh has been very busy with the boys. Mr. Donohue's been in there as well, helping a lot with the collaboration to make sure that these guys are also included as much as possible. But also in the background, you know, the broadcast team, absolute cracking job, lads. We didn't have any epileptic fits tonight, which is awesome. Which I still have cold flushes and nightmares about. But Daniel at the back has shown his extreme professionalism and done an exceptional job. In race control as well, we had Matty Keane, Steffi Piccoli, and Josh, who was the third one of your members?
Timmy Watson.
Timmy Watson, cracking job. I know that the workload was immense down there, and I know Josh spent a bit of time going up there and back as well. And also you and Zach, you know, thank you very much for joining us and being part of the history event that we're creating with Australian Open World Nationals. As far as Formula Super Light's concerned at SRW, 24th of September, what am I saying?
Today's the 24th of September. Yeah.
The 15th of the 10th is our first round. So if you want to have a look at it, check out our Facebooks and have a look at that. But very proud moment, Josh. I think it's been another epic night and fantastic effort by these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, before we get onto the drivers, I just want to echo your sentiments there. Just massive shout out to everyone who has had a hand in making this work behind the scenes. So, once again, we do put this on for the drivers, but there is a lot of work that goes on in the background to make this happen. So, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Getting two clubs to align is beyond believable, and then adding a third into the mix to field drivers is just I don't know if it's ever happened before, to be honest, but very good to see. And yeah, we do this for the drivers, and I think the drivers put their best foot forward tonight. Tricky conditions, the cream did rise, so yeah, it just goes to show, you put in the time, then you're going to end up on the top step. So a massive congratulations to Mark, and great.
Hang tight, you two blokes, because I want to come back to the talking point, and that is the chatter that's already underway with regards to the next Open World Nationals. Now, the way I'm looking at it, tentatively, I'm going to say put December 10 in your diary, ladies and gentlemen, the second Wednesday of December. Now, the reason I say that, the GSRT wraps up on the 5th, which is the first Friday, and if you start going any further into December than that, you're not going to get everybody's input because of Christmas holidays and family obligations and commitments and other things. So I reckon the 10th of December is safe hunting at the moment, safe fishing. But the dates the boys have mentioned, the FTL season starts up. That'll be Tuesday, October 7. Steve's, of course, mentioned the SRW SFL campaign gets underway Wednesday, October 15. So make a note of both of those in your diary if you like what you saw tonight. Someone's already suggested that the bend should be put on the wheel 4 times for the next one. Now, legitimately, that is actually doable because there's bloody joints, Casa de Shahin, as I call it, has got 4 different configurations. But I'm going to put my recommendation forward that if we do put that track on in any way, shape or form, it has to be the West configuration, because that is the best configuration for racing, particularly open wheels. As Josh Suno, our Formula V boys showcased only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, definitely, Zach, and I'm not going to bend the rules and put it on there twice.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I thought
we have been on air for 2.5 hours. Gentlemen, he's finally got a dad joke away. He can go to bed happy.
My fingers are normally hot in our own stream, as Zach will knows. But no, so we will get a fresh choice. I'm going to let Tom stew on that one. I do like the international circuit personally, but to be honest, it's definitely not one of my favourite tracks. I know there's a lot of people that like racing it, and it definitely would lead to these cars. And you know, after doing a faux street circuit, if we'll call it that, a little bit of open spaces and runoffs might not do anyone's brains harm.
I'm just thinking open wheel circuits that work good for IndyCar. Texas Motor Speedway, anybody? Chicagoland? Should we go to an oval for the Australian Open Wheel Nationals? I know Sinka's against it, but still. And the other question I've got for you two blokes, before I start to look ahead as far as the GSRC is concerned, and then we send it back to Sinka to sign us off for the night. Where's the limit? Where do we draw the line on this? Because now it's three clubs. How many is too many and how many is not enough?
I thought you were going to say Belle Isle and belting down rain there. That's a limit for me. You. But no, I don't mind chiming in here. I would love to see this go as wide as it needs to go. I think 40 is that kind of number that we don't really want to see too many more cars on track. But you know, just taking less drivers from the clubs overall, there's no issue in that. So it creates more allure, and you know, the drivers that actually make it onto the track, they have well and truly earned their right to be there by that stage. So no, let's keep growing.
All right, very nicely done. Sinky, your thoughts?
I totally agree with Joshko. Me and him are brothers in arms. We are brothers from another mother. We think very, very alike, which is really, really strange to see two principles of two different leagues so aligned with the way we envision Australian Open Wheel Nationals expanding. We both want to see Australian Open Wheel Nationals succeed and get better and better. And you want the best drivers out there, best competing, but we also want the leagues getting better and faster as well. So it's a good way of all the leagues developing and progressing. Look, there could be other leagues out there. I don't know. I'll leave that to my little minions that are watching it all out there. And I'm sure at some point Josh will come and say, "What about these guys? What about these guys?" We'll have a look at it. We've got a lot of work to do in the off season about doing a proper charter and putting in a proper strategy for growth going forward. Who knows? Maybe one day it'll be the Australasian Open Wheel Nationals. Who knows? We could only just keep growing and getting better and better. Maybe if someone out there is listening and watching this, and you want to put some real good money into Australian Open Wheel Nationals, let's do it and let's keep it growing. We're very open to more collaboration.
Yeah, very nicely done indeed. We are. Now, quick little cheeky plug. I don't know who might have the FTL sponsors on hand. Ewan, do you have the FTL sponsors, the people that make it possible for you guys to do what you do on you? If so, now's the time to give them a plug, because again, it doesn't happen without them.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have them on hand. So, big thanks to our title sponsor for the Super Formula Light Series, Player One Sim Gear, who have been with us for the 2025 year, along with Everything Simulated as well. Also supported by Capstone Marketing and Print Racer as well. Big thanks to all of them for being on board for the FDL seasons so far in 2025.
And Sinka, I'm sure you'd love to give the supporters of Sim Racing World a plug at this particular point in time.
Look, you can't go by without them, because they keep the doors open for us, and without them we would be nowhere. With people like Grim Industries, the home of the V8 coffee table. If you watch the Paramount Top Gear Australia version, you see one of the V8s sitting in the interview section of it. Shunt Sceneries, Mr. Barber's place. If you're doing any virtual flight simulator stuff, he builds 3D imaging of all sorts of things. Phoenix Driver Development, who helps a lot of the drivers in all our V8s and other cars, just getting that little bit better. Warren Brown Tools, who have been a massive advocate, they really have kept SRW alive for the 4 to 5 years that we've been around now. But MOZA Racing as well, a massive support across our series and supporting this event as well. Hopefully they'll be around because we can see MOZA Racing is investing massively in the US market. I think they've got a 35k prize available for the F4s in the US. So hopefully they don't spend all their money over there and they've got some left for us for 2026. But you know what? Reach out to Josh and myself. We're always looking for new people to help us. All the leagues need support, so it'd be great to be able to support everyone.
Indeed, and Josh, as El Presidente now of the platforms of the GSRC, do you want to do the cheeky plug or should I?
Oh, mate, I can roll with it. Yeah, so first off, I'd like to thank our long-time supporters. So we have Pure Tasmanian Sprayton non-alcoholic cider.
Yes.
They have been a long-time supporter and, yeah, absolutely fantastic local company, which you can find at many of your local places where you find those kind of drinks. And then we have another long-time supporter who supports our Monday night series, GT4s and GR86s this season, and they are waste
GT3
options.
and GR86.
Sorry, correct. Yep. And then we have a relative newcomer for the last, this is going to be their 4th season rolling, and that's Trophy AI. So these guys are fantastic, and we have a great partnership with them that we have set up essentially to enable our members to take them from either wobbler to not so wobbler or quick to even quicker. So Trophy AI is a great system for anyone at any skill point. But aside from that, we have Pantech Industries. So they're a veteran-owned company up in northern Queensland who specialise in heavy equipment repairs and whatnot. We have Flash Graphics, Merch TGSR-CI, and Bowens, who has also given us a bit of support. So thank you to all our sponsors. They keep us rolling.
Indeed, they do. And on that subject, if you want to get your hands on some of the GSRC merch that Josh just mentioned there, merch.tgsrci.com is where you go. But more to the point, if you want to get involved with Turn 4 just around the corner, race.tgsrci.com is where you go for all that information on how to sign up and get involved. And of course, pay your fees, see the calendar, etc., etc. Speaking of the calendar, I'll do this before Sinka wraps us up and takes us out of here. Quick little cheeky personal plug. This weekend, amongst everything else that's on offer for you to watch, AFL Grand Final, etc., West Bromwich Sport, my side hustle here in Ipswich, West Bromwich Radio on their YouTube channel, already broadcasting the meeting out at Queensland Raceway, the Hyundai XL, as they're labelling it, World Enduro. Bit of an NFL vibe going there because we're the only ones that do it. If Hyundai XL Racing was to get the eye of iRacing and they were to launch that on their platform, it'd take off right around the world, let me tell you. Hyundai XL World Enduro this weekend. We're on air Saturday at 9:15am, Sunday 10:30. West Bromwich Radio on YouTube. If you've got me on socials, ladies and gentlemen, the link is there. So after that, if I've still got my voice intact, probably not. We're back on Monday night for Turn 4, Night 1, Week 1, and we're looking forward to this immensely, as Josh said. And this is my first look at the calendar here too, ladies and gentlemen. So Week 1 will take us to the Toyota 86s from Road America for sprint racing as well. Jeez, that'll be fun. That'll be from 7:45 Eastern Standard Time, and the week after it'll be 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Too early, don't talk to me about it just yet. Then we go to sprint racing for GT3 from a former vendor of the Australian Open World Nationals, Mugello in Italy. And sprint racing there, Pro-Am race first up, Pro Split second up, and that'll be from 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday night, a new look Wednesday night with Dan Yeaman and Matt Schmidtke joining forces for this term. We're off to the Red Bull Ring for the late model stock Trans Am series thanks to merch.tgsrci.com. That will be the supercar supports. And that'll be a 45-minute race from there, again from 7:45 Eastern. And we're kicking it off with the Supercars Enduro from right back here at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Of course, a little bit of real-world symmetry there with the Supercars heading there in a couple of weeks' time, of course. Mount Panorama, 60 minutes, the Enduro to lead off the Trophy AI Supercar Series for Turn 4. Over drop, they're looking to continue their stranglehold on that at the moment, and that'll be with you live from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday night, Daniel Correa, who has done a magnificent job tonight, is back in the house on the platforms of the GSRC and on a regular basis as well. And we're teaming up as we did this time last year to bring you a Thursday night doubleheader that isn't Formula V, but it's still mouthwatering all the same. The new look GT4 Series, Mustang debut and all. That'll be first up from 7:45 Eastern from the Indianapolis Road Course. Interesting choice first up. And that'll be, of course, a 40-minute race there. Then we get on to the Porsche Cup, the Pantech Industries Porsche Cup from 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that will be taking us to, the most boring venue of last year's schedule for the Porsches, the Bend. Why we're not doing sprint racing there, I'm not sure. But yes, a 40-minute snooze around the Bend to get us going for the Porsches. I might call in sick next Thursday. 8:55 for a 9 o'clock race start. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, round 1 of the Pantech Industries Porsche Cup for Term 4, Shell V Power Motorsport Park on the international circuit. Friday night, we don't have a broadcast for the Skip Barbers from Summit Point because once daylight saving kicks in the progressive and civilised parts of the country, Joe Baldwin will be 3 hours, but it makes a lot more sense over on the West Coast, behind, and with work commitments and other things, he can only commit to the prime time offering, which we're very excited about. The prime time offering will be the Indy NXT level Road to Indy series, and we're looking forward to this immensely. And we're heading to the circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps first up for a 65-minute affair. That'll be from 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, week 1, and Eastern Daylight Time, week 2 onwards. And I'll be with him on the Friday nights in which I'm available to be so. But next week, I'm, of course, at the Sydney Illawarra Kart Club for the Karting New South Wales Championship, so I'll be out of action there. But yes, that is a massive week 1 coming up here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club as we get our historic 23rd season underway and term 4 of 2025. Ewan O'Leary, a magnificent debut from you. Final thoughts?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. It's been a great race here tonight at Bathurst. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed the idea of putting these leagues up against one another. And while it wasn't maybe as close as we could have hoped for at the start of the day, it was still close-ish, and a good race for the win as well. Congratulations again to Mark Killy on the win. It was a great event to be a part of.
Sinka, I'll let you give your final thought as you sign over. Josh Juno, final thoughts.
Josh, go.
It caught me off guard there with the mic muted. No, thank you again. And I did forget to thank the team behind the scenes. So yeah, the race controllers, fantastic effort. That was a big one for them. Glorious crash there from Steph as well. That first safety car. Not sure if the stream caught that, but no, very good work. And yeah, massive thanks. I called upon Dan quite last minute to put this together. He's pretty much started from scratch. Adam, massive effort to get the broadcast stuff ready, the part that Dan couldn't do. Matt McKee in the background to create the amazing overlay that automatically calculated the points. How he does that stuff is beyond me. And then, obviously, Owen, Sinker and yourself there, Zach. Absolutely fantastic job on the comms. Got 3 alphas in a channel. I don't know how you've managed to bloody yes, well done, Dan. I don't know how you managed to balance it, but yeah, fantastic, guys.
I'm going to seek clarification on what you mean by alpha. I reckon there's a non-G-rated term for that when we get off air. Thank you, Josh. Well played. A great night here. Sinker's going to wrap it up for us, but from our standpoint, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, a pleasure to produce and present this one for you, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Mark Killy. I'd love to pick apart the amount of bad luck stories and the guys that leave here with their tail dangling between their legs and licking their wounds, but seriously, we haven't got enough time to do so. There'll be a lot of people ruining what might have been tonight, particularly Harrison Willis. That's my standout as far as those that might have been a concern. We look forward to your company Monday night. Look forward to your company on YouTube over the weekend as well, as we continue to juggle real world and sim world commitments in 2025. What a magnificent night that's been. We look forward to the next instalment of the Australian Open World Nationals, number 6. Well done to the GSRC winning the team's bragging rights points race yet again. We've got a stranglehold on that still, despite the fact that Mark Hilly has brought the winning ways of the club to a standstill in the outright stakes, and he did it in the best possible way by starting from pole position and converting beautifully into being the 4th driver to be crowned an Australian Open Wheel Nationals champion on a night full of carnage and attrition at a place synonymous for it. Look forward to your company on Monday night. Sinka, bring us home, mate. A great night yet again. And credit to you guys for A, making it all happen, and B, having us involved.
Look, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been good to be in here with the so-called alphas. I did my job tonight. I kept quiet as much as I could to let you boys get out there, being the seasoned vets in the comms box. Look, if you've been watching this, if you've made it so far into the stream and you're watching the replay of it and you're thinking to yourself, how do I get involved in this? It's very simple. Look up FDL, look up Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, look up SRW, all on Facebook, all on the web, all on the internet. And all you got to do at this point is drive for one of those 3 to get yourself a seat in this race. You need to finish in the top 13 at this point until that changes. That's how it's going to be. And get yourself into this position to become one of Australia's fastest open wheel drivers. A special congratulations to the drivers. Finally, an amazing effort to the top 3, but an amazing effort to all that came out and participated. I know it's not an easy thing and it's stressful. We're just here to showcase the talent that we have in Australia in the Open Wheel Nationals, and without them we don't have anything. So the drivers out there is what it's all about. Share it, like it, subscribe it, push it out there. Let these boys become legends, a bit bigger than what they are. Let them grow and let them, see what they do. These boys are amazing. They are talents beyond belief. Anyway, that is it for me. If you want to get a hold of any of the people that help and run this, or if you want to be involved in it, reach out to us. We're all available for a chat. Josh K, myself, and Tom Donahue at FDL, depending on which way you're going. But from me and from all the team, thank you everyone in the background. Have a good night. Stay safe. Drive safe, and we'll see you all on track in some way, shape or form, whether it's open wheel, tin top. We will all be having fun in the sim world.
And we will.
Good night all.